folks. I made a really weird noise in my mouth just then.
Was
I don't
weird.
know if that was fucking strange. It kind of was like a weird fart sound, and I didn't mean to do that. But some air got trapped between my lip and my gum.
Yeah.
Hi, folks. It's VG's Podcast, episode 42. Wow, can you believe we've been doing this for 42 years? I'm one of your hosts, John Warren. With me is my forever co-host in the fandom dungeon in San Francisco, California. It's Nikki Grayson. And the sun is risen.
The sun is up,
space.
and I can see the video games.
Yeah, you can see the video games. You're not on the show floor yet, but you will be at some point soon.
I will be in 1 hour.
Okay, well, that's good. So we have you for about half an hour. That's great. It's enough time for us to riff with our very special guest this week. You can find this person over at youtube.com/@actionbutton, I believe, and discord.gg/actionbutton. It is the proprietor of Action Button. It's the one and only Tim Rogers. Hello, Tim.
Yeah, that's me. What's up? What's up?
I'm so happy that we have you here because we're just going to do a tight 6 hours on Video Ball, which is one of my favorite video games ever made.
Video Ball is real good.
It's a really good video game, and thank you for making it.
My haters love to bring up how Video Ball didn't sell. And
that's not true. I bought it.
Become a YouTube grifter. The word grifter has, I think, started to lose meaning, which is a shame because it's really good.
It's a good word.
I got called a grifter for the first time last week.
Wow.
For my Boku no Natsuyasumi video in particular. And
why?
And I got called a grifter again about an hour ago.
No,
by a different person. So it happens twice now. It happens twice now.
Oh no!
And nothing ever happens twice. This is something
true.
they teach you in statistics class.
Yeah,
things can happen once, but not twice.
No, hold on.
Nothing ever happens twice. It's going to happen
think
again.
about it,
Is what I'm
Nikki.
saying. I'm saying it's going to happen again.
Oh, okay.
The second happening is the beginning of a pattern.
Yeah, because it becomes more. I understand.
It's just there are two types of people in the world. That's a joke about things not happening twice. There are two types of people in the world. There are people who think twice is not the beginning of a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the visionaries.
They
you know
understand.
What I mean?
Who see the world for what it really is.
Yeah, the people who know. But what were we talking about right before the show? We were talking about the ultra wide monitor.
Yeah, your big monitor.
Yeah,
because you just have a TV.
Because we were talking about how Tim's got to look up at the camera. I've got to look down at the camera,
and I have to look over here.
Nikki's looking kind of left. But you know what? Honestly,
your setup works way better.
No, this is
way better.
eye level, but I can't see y'all.
Yeah.
Because the screen is over here.
Well, that's true.
We need to start getting screens behind, like cameras behind the screen.
Yeah.
Nikki, you and I need to work on our setups, like to look like yours does now, honestly.
Yes.
Like when you let's do it together.
It's a solvable product. The small business
solvable.
Elgato makes a bunch of great stuff.
Yeah.
And they make a
Those
teleprompter.
goddamn guys. They make a much better software than Corsair, their parent company.
What's that about?
Whose software crashes Adobe Premiere if it opens, which is really interesting to know. Why don't they just borrow the Elgato software for letting me map the buttons on my SCUF controller? They own SCUF and Corsair. I love this SCUF Envision Pro controller. This is my controller that I use for all my PC games and for when I'm playing games on my Mister. I really like this controller, but every time I touch this button, Adobe Premiere will crash. I have to make sure it's like over here at all times because for some reason IQ opens up. You touch that thing and you just get slapped in the face with Walmart like instantly. It's like a little Spotify thing widget pops up, a Xbox game bar pops up, the Corsair IQ pops up. They
start asking me using the computer.
Yeah, they asked me if I want to change my RGB levels. Man, I get worse. Yeah, it's just I get all sad about that.
But you've got. But I was talking about though how I can't really get my camera in between my two monitors, and you mentioned that you've got one.
It's a 48-inch monitor, and my camera is up on top.
It's not a monitor. You're describing a television.
No, this technically, so it has the same OLED panel as the LG C1 series.
Okay.
But it's an Asus branded product that has all sorts of computer monitor specific features to it. So it is a computer monitor, and it has way better speakers. If you ever like check audio on speakers, for I do a lot of focus testing.
Sure.
On one person focus group, and you want to test audio on phone earbuds.
Yeah.
Bear Dynamic DT1770 Pro headphones, which is by no means a mainstream experience, right?
I didn't understand any of the words you said.
Bear Dynamic. I got all these different, you want to test on all sorts of different audio environments, but I actually find myself sometimes occasionally just watching stuff with the speakers in this.
Yeah.
But it's got all these features that are it's nice. It's got like a gaming mode. It's got your HDR. It's got an FPS mode that's useful for when you're rotoscoping things in After Effects, because you can see the contrast gets all crazy, and you can really see the outlines.
See them?
Yeah. You can see these outlines real well. It's nice.
I have found this monitor for half as much as it is everywhere else on a website called GameHub.com. Should I just buy it right now?
What's the monitor? Are you looking at the Asus?
I'm looking at the no, this is the LG 48 GQ 900-B.
So that's the same panel as the one I have. So it is technically the same monitor, but I think the Asus one just has more features.
More gamer.
It has more. It's got gamer features, but like I've said, they're pretty useful for
seems
doing
nice.
Content creation, productivity stuff. I occasionally will just watch Netflix or whatever on here at my desk instead of going literally. I live in New York City, so my 77-inch OLED is like literally right there. It's not. I could just slide my chair over there and I'm watching, and I'm basically at the IMAX, but I'll sit here, and I'll just watch stuff on here while I'm eating my lunch. It's like, couldn't I just sit over there while eating my lunch? And it's
not the same.
It's not. It's like
not the same.
It doesn't feel like lunch. It feels like a break, and I don't deserve that, right? Like,
no, you should get those. I think you should get those.
Yeah, you should get those.
When I put my Star Trek: The Next Generation, I called it Netflix, but it's Paramount Plus. I'm doing basically my mom calling a goddamn Sprite a Coke, right? Like, you want a Coke? What kind of Coke do you want? You want a Sprite? I'm like,
in fairness, I don't think I've ever admitted to anyone that I watch Paramount Plus, even though I do.
P Plus,
I watch it a lot.
I fired up P Plus this week to watch an episode of Hot in Cleveland.
No, the fuck you did. Shut the fuck up. Why did you watch an episode of Hot in Cleveland?
I watched season 5 episode 1 of Hot in Cleveland.
Why?
Was that a reality show?
No, it's a show with
show.
It's
like Golden Girls too, basically.
Yeah, it's got Betty White's in it. Some other white women, and then in this episode, Alex Trebek was there.
Wait, so Betty White's
Cedric
only
the Entertainer was there.
The qualifier attached to Betty White is a white woman. Like she's old. Like she was also like 100 years old.
She was also very old in that show. Yeah,
really old. That show is incredible. It is the most like. It is insane. It's insane that they aired that on a television because there are at least 4 people in every scene who are in the middle of breaking, and it doesn't seem like they took any. They didn't take any additional takes of everything. They just they had the guys that they had for the amount of time that they had, which was 27 minutes to shoot the whole episode, and then they shot the episode on the first run through. And that was it. It was awesome, actually.
I've got to say, I'm interested in this.
If I recall, it's a Nick at Night product. I think it was like specifically
I thought
a
it was
Nick
on
at
TV
Night.
Land.
Oh, TV Land.
Is TV Land's not like Nick at Night related? Did it not descend?
I think it is.
Nick at Night?
It did.
I'm no expert.
They got syndicated from TV Land, and then they did air it sometimes on Nick at Night.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Yeah, no, it was actually awesome.
And it's on P Plus.
It's on P Plus.
I use P Plus too. I've been watching through everything Star Trek because I'd never seen an episode of any Star Trek anything until last year.
Okay.
So And then I mentioned that on like a live stream, and I instantly get people calling me
Of
out. They're like,
course.
you haven't
Yeah, right.
watched anything Star Trek. You're such a liar.
Grifter.
You're lying. You grifter. You're talking. You presuppose some sort of authority figure status in the video game world, and you're not you haven't seen any Star Trek, or the other. They come from another angle. They're like, you expect me to believe that?
Wow.
And it's like, I don't know, man. I know a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff. There's definitely holes, right?
There's too
like,
much stuff. We can't cover it all.
It's like an AM PM out there. The only
Yeah.
Star Trek products I've ever seen in my life are the video of the guy saying Khan.
Have you seen George Costanza saying
yes, I've seen that.
Okay.
Does that count?
That counts as Star Trek.
I think
that's another one.
I don't know if
And then I've seen J.J. Abrams' Star Trek.
Okay, so I've seen that.
The second one of those.
I guess to clarify, I hadn't seen any Star Trek TV shows.
Okay.
Now, as a child, there was like this moment where my brother started saying he liked Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, better than Star Wars.
Oh.
And it was one of my earliest formative experiences knowing another person was flat out lying. Right? And it's like his expression of his opinion is so insanely, incredulously disingenuous. That's the kind of person my brother is. I remember like noticing this, and he never stopped saying it. And, but he owns multiple cars and has 5 children, and he's married.
But we should get into lying.
Yeah. So he's the successful sibling. Where I've got a Discord that has 14,000 users.
That's pretty big. You can't say that.
He doesn't got one of those. God
no, he doesn't.
How many thousands of Discord users translates in my parents' eyes to a child birthed
or a car? Well,
or a car. How many cars is a child though?
That's a great question.
That's a really good question.
I think.
How many cars is a child?
Well, how much does a kid cost?
God,
a lot.
To like keep alive.
So much.
Yeah, but how much does a kid cost versus
millions of dollars?
There's 3 questions. How much does a kid cost? Mm-hmm. How much is a kid worth? And how much is a kid worth? Like if you're selling the child
to
selling
the kid.
Some foreign army or whatever.
Or to Wayfair.
Yeah. Selling a child. Yeah.
Wayfair.
Every kid.
That's what I like about buying kids.
How much is a child worth? Right? To a parent. How much is a child worth to a parent? A parent of a person whose child is having a child.
And would you rather have a Prius or a human child?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they buy all Kias in my family. They're a Kia family. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask
cars now.
Dancing Hamster commercial.
They've been on that tilt for that long.
Well, no,
that's kind of incredible.
When they got started, they got into Kia at around the Dancing Hamster commercial time.
They were bad then.
Yeah, my parents own 2 Kia Souls, which is like one of the worst. It's like the PT Cruiser of the modern era. It's one of the worst cars I've ever driven. But my brother, he's got like the more deluxe Kia SUV. Mm-hmm. They used to have Mitsubishis in my family, but they stopped getting them because
that's so funny.
My dad had a Mitsubishi.
They crashed 2 of them. They totaled 2 of them. And it's like we used to drive Mitsubishis, but they got totaled. And I'm like, so you switched to Kia?
Yeah.
Like, is this a superstition-based decision?
But the thing is, Kia is more over than Mitsubishi ever was. Mitsubishis are just weird Nissans.
My dad had a Mitsubishi 3000 GT.
It's a cool car.
And
I mean, a quote unquote cool car.
And it was red, but he would just drive it fast, listening to Bonnie Raitt on the highway.
Oh, that's
awesome. Where is this car now? Can I have it?
Oh no, it's fucking toast.
Oh, those I don't think any of those survived.
No,
I don't think.
My parents at one point had that Mitsubishi and like a Lexus LS 400, and it's the best cars that either of them have ever owned, and they fucked it up. Like they got rid of both of them, and I don't like. I once drove my mom's LS 400, and I was like, this car feels like you're like gliding. It felt like a miracle.
Yeah.
And every car I've driven since then, I've been like chasing that. I'm like, wait, why doesn't every other fucking car drive like this? And they just don't.
Well, now the cars feel like you're gliding because like they're doing so much steering for you.
Yes.
So it's gliding in like a worse way. Like the steering is so floaty.
Way worse way.
Every car I rent.
In my lift to the Burbank airport yesterday, the guy, I was in a BMW, great airport. I was in the
I
BMW.
Think that's my favorite airport in America.
It is. It's great.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. It's a bus terminal.
It's a bus terminal. It's great. Yeah.
He had lane keep assist on, and I could see because his car had the huge screen as the speedometer zone. There's a huge green thing that was lane keep assist. But he was driving the car with like just the tips of his pointer fingers on the spokes of the steering wheel like this. And I was like, I'm watching you drive me to the airport. We're on the 405 right now. Can you not?
That rules. I mean, it doesn't rule, but it's like
it doesn't rule, but it is awesome.
It's like he's driving with like a Q-tip in each hand, like touching the wheel, like dainty style. Man,
I found a LS400. John, you can make this dream come true. This one's only got 50,000 miles.
That's not bad.
That's not bad
for a 1992 Lexus LS. That's only $12,000.
Now I don't have that, but I will. I can make it happen.
If you look up 3000 GT, the Mitsubishi 3000 GTs, don't. I mean, I'm just gonna guess you're gonna find like 12 of them for $400 each, with like 22,000 miles on them because they blew up. Everybody I knew who had one of those got straight up punked by the machinery at some point. Like those were not built to last whatsoever.
No.
Subarus from that era you might still see on the road.
Head gasket issues on those though.
Head gasket issues, yeah. Man, you know what I like about
car talk.
You know what I like about Bob Hope Airport in Burbank?
Yes, please. It used
to be called Bob Hope Airport, and then they changed the name. And I was saying to my friend, I was like, man, it sucks that they changed it from
Burbank
Bob Hope Airport. And then my friend goes, yeah, it did, Bob Hope Airport did have a nice ring to it. And I'm like, yeah, it did. Burbank's a cool name, but Bob Hope, man, you got to respect Bob Hope. And my friend goes, yeah, but I mean, it's kind of problematic to call an airport Bob Hope Airport. And I'm like, oh, wait, is it? And then he goes, yeah, like it is, right? Like it is, right? And I'm like, I don't know. And then he's like, well, I mean, Bob Hope, like, I mean, he's one of those guys from like he was like from the 40s. I'm like, yeah. And then it's like, he's probably, there was something about him, right? I remember hearing something a couple years ago. And I'm like, was there? And then he's like, I don't know if there was something. And then I'm like, I don't think there was. I have a pretty good memory of which celebrities have been ultra posthumously blasted, canceled. Disgraced. I have pretty I don't think he's one of them.
I don't think he's one of them.
And then my friend's like, yeah, but like Christopher Columbus, that was like hundreds of years ago, and he only got super canceled recently. And I'm like, Bob Hope and Christopher Columbus are not the same guys at all.
Different guys.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm just like having this. I'm like, at what point am I supposed to tell my friend who I've known for a long time that he's just he's hallucinating. He doesn't have to say everything.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, listen, I was
think it either.
I was sad when I finally had to stop putting the 3 ships in my front yard, for Columbus Day. I was so sad about that. And but I'm never gonna stop putting the USO show out there for Bob Hope Day.
Yeah.
I'm just never gonna do that,
God, Bob Hope lived to be 100 years old.
100 years old.
And in this house, we respect that.
Your friend, though, I don't know. Maybe your friend's thinking of John Wayne Airport in Orange County, which I do think is, like
John Wayne Gacy Airport,
John Wayne Gacy
Ted Bundy Airport,
Ted Bundy Airport,
Al Bundy Airport. That guy was a misogynist.
He didn't love his wife at all. My dad my dad famously, when Ann and I lived in LA, my parents were like, we're going to come to Orange County and stay in, I don't know, some fucking hotel and come spend the weekend with us. We're like, okay. So we drive down to this hotel and we're sitting there having a drink at the bar, and my parents are supposed to be there. And we're like, man, my parents must be running late, but it looks like their flight landed. And they call me and they go, well, your father somehow booked us to fly into Ontario. Which is so fucking
Canada?
far. No, Ontario. Yeah, but it's still like a 2-hour drive. So we had to sit there and we drank like 7 cocktails before my parents showed up. So, but they wanted to fly into John Wayne Airport. Somehow fucked that up.
They really, they wanted to see, the Duke.
They really wanted to see that. They wanted to drive from Ontario, see the Duke on the way, and then get to the hotel, I guess.
The Duke was the hero of Al Bundy.
That's true.
So that's true. Another married. He loved watching films with the Duke. Let me tell you something about Al Bundy. The guy loves toilets that flush, right? I have not seen a single episode of Married with Children since it was on television, and I hope I never do.
You think that's
again.
on P+?
Is it on P+? Because it's a Fox product, right?
It's a Fox product. So it might be on Disney Plus. Is it on Disney Plus?
Disney Plus. They've got
got
The Simpsons. They've got Family Guy. They've got
everything you want.
Married with Children.
It is on Disney Plus.
It is
on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, all right. If I ever feel like hurting myself, I'll it's maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine.
Probably not. It's probably not.
It's just raunchy, stupid.
The aesthetic.
You know what it is?
11 seasons.
Yeah,
huh?
It ran long. It ran long.
Wow.
You know what that show is? This word just popped into my head. It is a proto cartoon. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's basically you could not make something like that now, but you could if it was a cartoon.
If it was a cartoon.
Right? If it was a cartoon, absolutely. So he loved toilets that flush. He's like, he loved listening to that flush, right? And I've been living in New York, Manhattan, this apartment here for 5 years. My toilet busted one day, and a maintenance guy came up and fixed it. And then afterward, it takes 82 seconds to flush.
That's a long time.
So long.
I hurt my neck because of my toilet. Because I always try to stack up tasks and multitask and do other stuff while flushing the toilet. Like, I can put the toothbrush away. I can put the toothpaste over here. And I'm like this.
Peace.
I'm doing like a goddarn Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon sword pose while I'm like in the bathroom, and I hurt my neck. So I've obtained a little bit of empathy for Al Bundy, loving a toilet. That every time I'm in somebody's house or a public bathroom, and first of all, public bathrooms, little flush satisfaction in public bathrooms. They don't flush right. They haven't flushed right since the goddarn
They're not
80s.
Fun. They're not fun.
Yeah, you got to wave your hand around. Like,
I love a really dramatic flush.
Like playing the Microsoft Connect game, like getting the toilet to flush. Like, I hate it.
I've just learned about 2 television programs, and then I must depart, and I will leave you with this knowledge.
Okay.
Yes.
There were 2 spin-offs for Married with Children.
That's true.
Yes.
Both of them starred Matt LeBlanc.
Good old Matt.
Wow. I can't believe Friends was a spinoff of Married with Children.
Does that guy not have a phenomenal last name for the type of guy he is?
Yeah, white guy.
Yeah. Like the
white.
So wait, before you go, you're at GDC, right? You're going to go to the show floor and play some games, right?
It's true.
I would recommend you check out a video game there that I waited specifically for this day to record this show so that I could speak about this. I recommend you check out a video game which last night won not only the Wings Award, I don't know what that is, but it won the Nuovo Award for innovation, and it won the Seamus McNally Grand Prize.
That's a huge one. I know about that one.
It won that. The game is called Consume Me.
Consume
Me. It is available at the IGF Pavilion.
Okay.
And it is a video game about starring, drawn by, developed by, designed by, directed by my girlfriend.
Whoa.
So go check it out.
Congrats.
Go check it out.
Huge.
She won the Seamus McNally Grand Prize.
Congratulations.
And then she asked the audience if anybody wanted to buy it for $10 million, which is an idea that
there should have been a taker. That's a great idea.
I wanted to help her workshop it as a joke, I was like, you should say, are there any publishers or investors watching who would like this award? Because this one's not for sale. But if you give me $10 million,
you can have
you another.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's perfect.
And she got up there, and all she said was, "Does anybody want to buy this for $10 million?" And I'm like,
"That's great.
Got to do the full joke.
Yeah, you have to
work so hard,
right? Yeah,
brevity is the soul of wit is a line contained in an enormous work of Shakespeare. Okay, let's remember that. Everybody likes to take that one sentence out. You got to sometimes.
No, it's the journey.
You need a setup.
Journey.
You need a beginning, a middle, and an end. But she won the grand prize. She won the grand prize. There's other people who worked on the game too, but they're just not as.
That's a big one.
No offense to them, they're just not as interesting to me as the person who lives in my house.
Listen, I get it.
Not as cool as you.
Just not. They're not as interesting to me. I hope. I want to make sure. I want to make sure I'm understood. They're not as interesting to me as my girlfriend who.
Well, Nikki,
I will
before you go, go play it.
See if you can. If
rest of your week.
If you see her, tell her I said hello. If you see her, say hello. That's a Bob Dylan reference.
That is. Thank you.
Well,
who?
Do you not know Bob Dylan?
See you, Nikki.
Not really. See ya.
He's a guy.
Bye.
Bye.
Do I have to? Are you
uploads
gonna
in progress? We recommend you stay into the studio. Leave an open uploads.
I'll just remove. Yeah, there you go.
He's gone, but okay, very good, very good. Let me tell you something about my girlfriend winning the Seamus McNally Grand Prize.
Yes.
She has been obsessed with winning the Seamus McNally Grand Prize for like 3 years.
Really?
She's like, I want to win the Seamus McNally Grand Prize with this game. Right. And then every other day, she'll be like, I don't think it's going to win the Seamus McNally Grand Prize. If you look at this winner, and you look at this winner. And then last year, a game won the Seamus McNally Grand Prize that was about it was about an Indian family and food, and it contained a muted color palette. And Mimsy, I call her Mimsy. That's not her real name, but I call her Mimsy. She has a real name. It's publicly available, but I have a clear record of not speaking it publicly.
I feel like that's fair.
Mimsy is like Mimsy's game also has a muted color palette and is about food, and it's about a Chinese family. So it's, so she was like, will people be able to see past the superfice of this game?
Sure.
Mimsy's game is 10 hours long.
Oh, that's a lot longer than Venba.
Venba was 4 minutes. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It was an hour. Though.
I'm slandering Venba because I had to pretend to dislike Venba on a live stream when I was hyping up Mimsy's game to prospective voters from the Seamus McNally Grand Prize, none of whom I believe were watching, much less paying attention. Though, so she's like, will they be able to see past the superfice into the? She didn't use the word superfice, but I'm using it now. Will they be able to see past the facade? She didn't use that word either. She didn't phrase it this way at all. She said, will they be able to see past the superficial similarities and recognize that my game is a 10-hour Persona-like with all sorts of crazy stuff in there. It's part Tokimeki Memorial, part Boku no Natsuyasumi, part like all sorts of things are just intertwined all over this game. And I did my best to, for several years, set the world up to vote for this game to win the Seamus McNally Grand Prize, and it won. Why was I
did the work?
I chose to review the games Tokimeki Memorial and Boku no Natsuyasumi specifically so that I could make a case for Mimsy's video game. Is that true? Maybe, but it's not untrue. Let me tell you.
It's not untrue.
Let me tell you. So for 3 years, she's been obsessed with winning the Seamus McNally Grand Prize, and I have had to repeatedly, hundreds of times over the last 3 years, say, man, those stupid awards, it's just a stupid circle jerk. It's just a bunch of goddarn nonsense. It's just a bunch of losers. Like, who cares? Meanwhile, thinking it would be pretty cool if she won the award. And then she did.
Yeah. And that's all she wrote.
And
that's incredible.
She didn't thank me on stage. She thanked Bennett Foddy instead. She
Was that
she thanked Bennett Foddy because he was her teacher.
Yeah, well, Bennett's a great teacher. He's taught a lot of people. But
the reason she didn't thank me was because
did you talk about this ahead of time?
No, okay, because I had to. I'm the boss at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3 here. Any Metal Gear Solid heads in the chat?
I love
what I'm talking about. I had to carry this whole. I had to LARP this GDC awards hater persona for talk about how awards don't matter for years. For years, I had to talk up this persona. I made a sacrifice. She won the award, and it's very good. And
that's good. That's awesome.
I lost 6 Patreon backers because I used the announcements channel in my Discord to announce that Mimsy's award had won. There's 6 $3 tier Patreon backers left. 2 of them messaging me angrily. That channel is for announcing when you have a new video. You grifter. That's when I got called a grifter for using the announcements channel in my Discord to announce that my girlfriend won the Seamus McNally Grand Prize at the Independent Games Festival Awards.
Yeah.
I got called a grifter because they thought I saw a ping and I thought there was a new video.
That would rankle me. I would not love that.
So if you can't handle me at this, etc. I'm not going to complete the meme format because who cares? I'm too old to complete the meme format. I can only insinuate them. You know? Right.
I get it. I mean, but congrats. Congrats to Mimsy. That's really exciting.
Congratulations to me. No,
you did it. You did this.
I will never win an award for anything in my entire life. Do you realize this?
I don't know if that's true.
The closest possibility to me winning an award is literally the Pulitzer Prize. That's the only thing I have any chance of ever being in contention for, and it will so never happen. It will so never happen because I will never publish any of the work that I've written that I look at like this and go, that would probably get in there. I have such disdain for the Pulitzer Prize. That's why I don't do it. It's not that I hate the public. It's that I just don't.
You just don't respect the Pulitzer.
I don't respect the Pulitzer. It's a circle jerk. It's a circle jerk. Or am I just telling myself this? How many years am I going to tell myself this?
Well, until you win it, and then you'll be like,
I did it.
This is the thing I wanted forever.
I wouldn't show up to the ceremony because I would be in the middle of a live stream. That's on my Twitch channel. That's also a Bob Dylan reference about Bob Dylan not showing up for the. He showed up, didn't he? Did he show up? I don't know. Am I confused?
He did. Well, he didn't show up. What for the
Nobel Prize for Literature one that he got?
Did he show up for that?
He gave a speech at some point about it.
He did,
but
I don't remember.
He's on tour or whatever. He can't
come.
Yeah, he's like, I can't do this. Or except he said it. He said it in Bob Dylan's movie.
I can't go.
I gotta see that Bob Dylan movie, dude.
With Timmy Chalamet.
Yeah, you know what? I think that guy's all right.
I think he is too.
I think he's all right.
He seems fine.
Instagram really, really thinks I want to see interview clips of him.
Same.
They gave up on everything. They gave up on suggesting everything.
I got a lot of his press tour on Instagram and TikTok.
All they want to do is they just you probably want to watch this, right? They used to show me girls. Like it used to be all Instagram reels that were like girls with like enormous posteriors. girls with enormous buttocks. Like chopping vegetables or whatever, like from behind.
Right.
Like I don't like that's the internet, I guess. And I never clicked on any of this stuff. And one day, because I'm like, how long is it going to keep recommending me this? Like the algorithm keeps trying different stuff. And now, as of right now, it's only Timothy Chalamet interview clips.
Yeah. It's a lot of that.
And the camera's scanning around to try to keep him in frame.
For me, it's Timothy Chalamet, and it's also It's also a meme song for LeBron James, based on "Man in the Mirror" by Michael Jackson.
Okay.
And it is literally every third TikTok I scroll, it is that. And you know what? Fair enough, because I've watched all of them, even though they're all the same. So that's on me. That's really my mistake.
What do you think Michael Jackson was thinking about when he was writing the song about talking to the man in the mirror about how it's time to make a change?
I don't know. I honestly wonder. Yeah. I wonder too. Because I remember when I was a kid and I saw that music video, it was very much about like African starving children were in vogue in the late 80s, early 90s, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
And I think that was kind of what the video was, but it's like, then it's like, okay, you think about it for 5 minutes, it's like, oh, what was he talking about?
Yeah, what was he talking about? What was he talking about? Because he also had "Heal the World, make it a better place."
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
that's me.
He had a lot of that.
Not trying to do a Michael Jackson impression.
Thank God,
because
you don't need to do that. You don't need that heat.
You know what? Michael Jackson had some hot tunes at a certain point.
He had some great songs.
You ever smoke that Thriller, dude? Like, come on, smoke that Thriller.
The best. It's the best.
Off the
good.
You know, you get a couple of
Off the Wall is really good.
You get a couple of hot records from that guy.
Dangerous was the first album I ever held in my hand to go buy.
Good record.
Dangerous.
First record you ever bought?
It was, and then I think the second record was Ace of Base.
Oh, I saw the sign and it opened up my eyes.
And then
we can't really joke about Ace of Base anymore because
not really
because of that. Wait, was there something? Was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, they were weird. They were
Nazis?
weird. They had some stuff. Yeah.
I'm just gonna need to carry a Nazi Rolodex around.
And all that she wants is kind of like really
baby.
Regressive. Yeah.
What if by baby they meant
song.
another Pomeranian dog?
Ooh, you have two now, right? Is that yeah?
They're right over there. You can't see them. They're right. They're just off camera having a great time.
Do you take them a lot of places?
When we travel, we take them everywhere.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. They wouldn't let Mimsy take Blaster. Blaster's the black one to GDC.
Mm-hmm.
They had rules, and Mimsy was wearing a black dress when she accepted the award. If she had Blaster with her, it would have been so good.
That would have been cute.
Like it would have. She's a Blaster's just a beautiful little black Pomeranian. She's just the most gorgeous dog. Blaster, where are you, baby? Come here. I don't know where she is.
Blaster.
She's very sad. She's very sad because Mimsy's not here. She's been just lying by the foot of the bed, thinking Mimsy will come back.
So how are both of them when you are separated? Are they despondent? Are they weird? My wife and I have two dogs, and they behave very differently when one of us is gone.
So they don't like when one of us is gone. I think they generally act the same when one of us is gone, which is they lie on the floor by the front door. Which we also have. It's like very hot in here all the time because we got one of these Manhattan apartment buildings where the management turns the heat on the first time someone over the age of 70 complains, which, you know, the typical over 70 New Yorker who hasn't moved to Florida yet. Right. So it's like they moved to Florida I understand why they moved to Florida now. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. Like it's, they just apparently, if one old guy, it's like a weird Groundhog Day, complains enough, they turn the heat on in like September. And it is so hot that I have every window open all the time, dead of winter, right? So it gets to be like 85 degrees in here in the winter. Like it's so bad.
That's really hot.
That the dogs love to lie on there's a stone tile area by the front door. I guess because it's colder. It's like remarkably colder to the touch. So they lie on that. We've got cooling pads for them, but they lie by the door if one of us is gone. Yeah. And they just stare at the door. Yeah. And I've put a camera out when we're not here before, and they do that when neither of us are here.
Yeah.
And we live right across the hall from the elevator. So every time someone gets in the elevator, they freak the heck out. Yeah, they go completely crazy. They're like, who's in there? And then they stop. They just immediately stop and lie back down. But Blaster's been weird while Mimsy's been gone.
Yeah.
She's been just kind of rolling around on the floor in the bedroom. Like she's looking for her. I always say, you guys want to go look for Mimsy? And we go outside and they just like tug the leashes and run. And they're like, where is she? Where is she? And then they're like, well, we've explored the exact perimeter of the apartment building. She's probably back home. Probably. And then they start yanking the leash toward the elevator to get back in. And they blast into the apartment and check each room for about 3 seconds. Yeah. And then they go, oh, she's not here. Mm-hmm. And then they just resume being sad. It's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how they are. That's how those babies are.
Dogs are strange.
Yeah, I love my dogs. Them. Ace of Base, all that she wants is another baby. A Pomeranian tomorrow.
A Pomeranian tomorrow. I like it. Yeah. I like it.
God.
I have long thought Pomeranians are very cute. I have a Chihuahua now for the very first time.
Oh, those are good dogs.
I'm kind of on board with like the really small small guys.
I love the tiny dogs.
Yeah.
How much your Chihuahua weigh?
8 pounds.
8 pounds.
Fully grown.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like most Chihuahuas look smaller than my dogs, but my dogs are 6 and 7 pounds, right?
Yeah.
So like they're like 90% of the visual is hair. Mm-hmm. Like so it's just crazy to see Chihuahuas on the street and be like, well, that dog's definitely smaller than mine. And then it's like, not really.
No. Yeah.
My dog gets wet. He looks insane. like
those owls that take a bath or whatever, and they show them, and they just
My girlfriend always posts like Instagram stories when he's like wet from a bath,
right?
And I'm always like, man, don't disrespect my boy. That's basically like nudes. At that point, like that's like dog nudes for him.
He didn't consent to that. He didn't consent to that. No way.
That's not what anyone should know him as. They should not know him as that. There's like an emoji in my Discord of him wet, and that bothers me. That someone got from one of her Instagram stories, which I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not fair. It's not fair to him. It's
not fair. He didn't ask for that. There's no way he asked.
He's just a beautiful little dog.
I love the little dogs. They're so sweet.
He's just laying on the floor looking at me right over there. He's just staring at me. Come here, baby. Here, let me get.
So sweet.
I got chicken in my pocket.
Okay, there's that freeze dried chicken.
Pocket chicken.
We love it. We love the pocket chicken.
Vivithy, you want chicken? You want chicken? Come here.
We are waiting.
He's slowly getting up.
Mm-hmm.
He's like rolling. Come on, chicken. Chicken. You want chicken? Come here, little dog. Come here. Oh, the secret dog has appeared. You want?
Oh, yee.
The Blaster appeared. I love how hard it is to see her. It's so funny. like I just like cannot see her at all. All I'm seeing is like the tiniest glint of orange in her eyes because she's got bright retinas. Come here.
Little spirited away soot monster.
Come here. Hold on.
Okay.
Blaster, come here, baby.
We're awaiting an appearance from Blaster the Pomeranian. I asked. I mean, so this is, now.
She's being a dirtbag.
Yeah.
She ran away. She's like, she's got a problem with Mimsy not being here.
To me, I think for me, my experience is that there's an aloofness that comes with like desire. Like if I ever want Ravioli, the Chihuahua, to do anything, it's like if I ever want it, he's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, God darn it.
I'm good. I'm totally good.
These dogs both go crazy for this chicken. She was coming for the chicken while I was just holding it down here.
Right.
I'm just going to keep it held down. I'm fishing.
There you go. Maybe you'll get a fishing. Yeah, you might get a bite.
Blaster is normally the most affectionate dog possible. Like she's just like she'll sit in my lap for hours. I watched like the entire NFL season with this dog. Like just sits in my lap for the whole game. It's crazy.
Are you a Colts fan? Are you a general?
Oh, no, I'm agnostic.
You're agnostic, an agnostic NFL watcher. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was rooting for the Eagles. And
okay. Well,
that was easy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but I don't. I try to just enjoy the game. Basically, whoever I bet on FanDuel and DraftKings and Caesars Sportsbook and MGM Sportsbook, that's who I don't stake.com. I've never bet on sports. But,
I never have either.
But I'm thinking again.
You know what?
I'm thinking again into it.
Most of my family and my in-laws, they're into it. I was like, it was like last Thanksgiving. I just was like, oh, you're all gambling on these.
They're all gambling
now.
On every sporting event now.
Yeah. It's wild.
The most absolutely normal people are doing it. The most straight up normal people. Okay, so that's a good question. What is I think the hyper-normalization of sports betting in America is kind of a once in history so far cultural event. I think there hasn't really been anything exactly, if we explore it with enough nuance, there hasn't been anything exactly like it. What is the hyper-normalization of sports betting of video games? Like, I mean, it's easy to say something like Candy Crush, right? Like, but
I mean, I was gonna say there certainly a slew of free to play games. It's like an easy answer, but I don't know if that's exactly the same.
I think it's something that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
and it's like, it's just so weird that it's now the main.
It's super normal.
It's super advertised normal during sports with athletes.
Yes.
They've got
with
Peyton Manning and his brother. And whatever his little brother's name is. That's a joke. I know his little brother's name. But
no, but I mean it's like, and I hate to sound like a weird prude, but it's like there is an erosion generally of, I feel like, ethical boundaries of just like all these athletes have like podcasts now. Like I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, which I feel bad about constantly.
That's a good idea.
Their best player he has a podcast every Monday and he just like talks about the rest of the league. And I'm like, dude, you got your ass kicked yesterday. like I'm just always kind of in awe of like the weird, like, I don't know what that to me is almost as weird as anything else, of this kind of like, I totally think that athletes should be training for whatever comes next, because sports are fucking cruel and it's really hard to like have something lined up afterward if you're not preparing for it. But like the Draymond Greens and the Micah Parsons of the world who like have their podcast as they're fucking up in their own sport is crazy to me. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but in the same vein, it's like, you tune in every morning, you see the betting lines and people are like, oh, well, and it's just, it's odd. If
there's a game on and you're out of the house and you want to know the score, it used to be, you just Googled the name of one of the teams. Like you type Cowboys into the URL bar of Safari on your iPhone and press enter. And the very first thing you see is the score in the Dallas Cowboys game that's happening right now, because Google was at least that smart. It used to be. I'm saying it used to be about a year ago, right? Like I'm saying 2023. I'm using the phrase "it used to be" about 2 years ago, right? Where it's like now you type that and you get all sorts of betting stuff that I honestly, again, I don't know everything about everything. I don't really know the stuff about what the gambling stuff means. I don't know what the numbers mean. I could learn probably very quickly, but then I would be tempted to start throwing money in there.
You could learn from DraftKings.com. They could explain it all to you and be happy to take your first $5 of DraftKings bucks or whatever.
DraftKings is like named after like was it originally like a fantasy draft website?
Yes.
And now it's just bet on games.
The line from fantasy sports to like just straight up gambling is basically a straight line.
That's what normalized it. Yeah. So basically there's something in video games that will explore a dark path that will basically become hyper normalized as a, I don't know.
Do you think, I mean, like, I don't know if it's not microtransactions just from the standpoint of like, they're still enormously successful from normal people. Like when I talk to my nieces and nephews, or my step nieces, or my nieces and nephews in law, last Thanksgiving, they were talking about buying the $10 shoes on Fortnite and like all that stuff. They were talking about they want this stuff, and it's like, these are normal people. Like when you go on Reddit and you see a bunch of like gamers getting mad at microtransactions, they're not real people.
Yeah, they're internet loud people. Yeah.
They're internet people. And I'm like, and I appreciate that, people speak out about this stuff, but like the ship has fucking sailed for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the outrage about the Oblivion horse armor.
Yeah.
Right. So the Oblivion horse armor was like, it was crazy how angry people were on internet forums really and in comments on like Kotaku articles. People it was as though they had never been introduced to a single injustice in their entire life, and many of them maybe hadn't.
Maybe not.
Like, and it was as though they had never been a part of something just so offensive, so galling to their sensibilities. People were so histrionically, hysterically, freakishly, theatrically, dramatically upset at the horse armor existing in Oblivion.
I remember.
All they wanted was people proposed things like, just let me win it in the game.
Right.
Just let me win it. Give me a shot, coach. Right. And that's all they wanted. And I was working at Sony Computer Entertainment Japan at around that time. And what did I do there? None of your business. We don't need to talk about what I did. I'd die if I started talking about what my job was. I wouldn't be killed. I would just die. And I remember that around this time, Sony was talking about making a Gran Turismo. Do you remember this? For the PlayStation 3, where you got to buy the cars for dollars. You got to buy the cars for dollars. You got to pay human Earth dollars for your cars, or yen if you're in Japan, or won if you're in Korea. And they didn't currently sell games in China at the time, so there was none of that. English pound sterling, to buy an Aston Martin for some pound sterling, governor, right? You could do that. They were talking about this around like horse armor time, a little before horse armor time and a little bit after. And eventually it was scrapped, right? Gran Turismo 5 was going to be a game where you buy the cars, right? You remember this?
I remember. Yeah.
And
because I was a big Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec and Gran Turismo 4 fan. I was so excited about the new stuff. And I remember I was mad. Hot games. I didn't want to pay real money for that stuff.
People were losing their mind.
They were pretty mad
at the idea of having to pay some money for some games. Or for some cars. And 10 or so years after that, I'm playing Forza on my Xbox.
Sure.
And I want a specific car. Yeah. And it's just like the in-game economy is so wacky.
Busted. Yeah.
Where it's like, it's 5 million credits and you can get 1,200 credits for doing a race. And if you turn the assists off, you get 300 more credits. And I'm like, are you telling me to run this race 416 times so that I can have a Fawawi? Right? Like, is that what you're telling me, Rick? Is what I'm saying to my Xbox. And I'm just like,
tough.
I'd pay some money for this. Would I pay some money for a car? I probably would. And then you get on the thing and it says you can get 100,000 credits for $3 or whatever. And then you just start to get kind of mad that you paid $60 for the game. And then you just start to think, what would it have been like if Gran Turismo microtransactions were normalized way back when? If that actually had gone through, if the horse armor, if the enraged horse armor haters hadn't kind of kicked the bucket all the way down the hill, whatever that means, for the Gran Turismo. Like, I feel like there was a thing happening in internet comments that ended up snowballing into me just having to pay $60 for Forza and then grimly considering paying $10 extra so I could have a Ferrari. But I mean, it wouldn't have even, it would have been more than that.
It would have been more than that. And also, it's like, I do think some companies are dipping into that kind of bad economy stuff. I mean, 2K has been really bad. I haven't played one of their golf games in forever, but a friend was reviewing it and they basically did the calculation of like, you'd have to play the game for 300 fucking hours to like get your character all the way to like level 99.
Yeah.
And so the economy is so busted that they're like, well, if you don't want to play it for 300 hours, you could give us another $100.
And it's like,
Jesus Christ, that's crazy.
I worked on a lot of like I was, as a consultant, I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area from 2010 to 2017. I was a consultant at a lot of like companies that were making video game like products, apps for phones and
gamified things.
I can say with a whiff of authority, I can say a lot of those economy numbers that you experience in games today for stuff like the 2K golf, where you'd have to play 300 hours to get to level 99 without purchasing an experience accelerator. A lot of those numbers are either direct copy pastes or very, very close family tree descendants to napkin math that was done at pitch meetings in like 2011. Like, no joke.
I believe it.
I'm not even joking with you. Like just napkin math. Like, that was like, well, we could get players to get this many points, because you end up, when you're balancing an economy, you're like, how many points per hour, points per minute? Games like Destiny that are designed around the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 10 minute, the 20 minute, the hour. Destiny's nice enough to offer like 2 hour tastes. You can have a 2 hour entree if you want, right? So it's like a lot of these social mobile games would stop at they specifically didn't want you to play longer than 5 minutes. Right. And they wanted you to experience the game at like 100 hours spread out over 6 to 8 months. And I feel like there's a lot of that napkin math that remains in your games with either free-to-play or microtransaction-based elements now. And there was a big uproar about loot boxes a couple years back, and there's, they take it to the Supreme Court and the FTC and the, and the SEC and all of the and the NEC. They got the PC engine in there, right? They get everything going about the loot boxes, the parents, there's like, the Angry Mothers League or whatever it's called. Just like parents, the PTA is going crazy. Paul Thomas Anderson is going crazy.
Paul Thomas Anderson is fucking mad.
He's getting angry.
He's so mad.
He's like losing his mind about their warping the minds of our children. It's gambling. How is this different from gambling? And it's like, it's been hyper normalized to a point where I just remember saying and getting kind of roundly laughed at in a lot of meetings that it's like, when's there going to be a AAA free-to-play game? And someone's like, oh, there's never going to be a AAA free-to-play game. The premium models. But now you got like Genshin Impact, and you've got Hoyoverse, and you've got a lot of these other games. Like, I thought Black Myth Wukong was free-to-play.
You did?
For like 9 months, when I finally decided to play it so that I could have something to say about the games of the year. I was like, I got to pay $70 for this? Like, what? I thought it was free. I thought I could like buy armor for the monkey. I thought I could buy like new tiaras for him or whatever. I thought I could like pimp my monkey with tiaras. I didn't know that I had to buy the game. And then, I managed to purchase the game so that I could have really depressing things to say about it. It's not. I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it. What are they feeding the action game designers now?
I don't know. That one.
What are they feeding them?
That game was.
What are they eating?
That game was so at the middle and at the center of like a fucking culture war bullshit thing that I think everyone just kind of. It's so bad, and it's like I hate it. And it was such at the center of that I was just like, my conclusion was just like, I don't know if this is notable enough to be in any conversation.
There's no. I used to use as a game designer, I used the word sticky. There's no stickies. The people today, gamers, they say hit stop or hit stun. But I like the word stickies. I like to say stickies. There's no stickies in it. And it is so hungry for stickies.
Yeah.
It's like you're goddamn swishing a big old chopstick through golems made of water,
Yeah.
Like it's just the unflinching monsters.
This weightless kind of weird feeling.
I have never seen so many evidently tens of millions of dollars just bucket poured upon something so frictionless and weightless and joyless. I hate this. What am I? This is game. Welcome back to the game of the year 2024. I also just like laughably, comically could not chill at all with Stellar Blade. I'm a super taster of action games. I have played Castlevania Dracula X Rondo of Blood for about 2,000 hours of my life. I know more about Castlevania Dracula X Rondo of Blood than I know about anything on Earth. And I can tell you, what are they feeding these guys? like what? It is a Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox at this point.
Yeah.
They're mimeographing this stuff, right? Like they don't even have a Xerox machine. It's like there's a carbon copy of a carbon copy at this point. And it's like, where are you getting half of this stuff? So you play something like God of War Ragnarok, right? It's crispy as heck.
Crispy. Yeah. I picked that up again this past week, actually. And, just kind of playing, bouncing between a bunch of stuff. And I'm like,
it's crispy.
This shit still feels good.
Yeah.
It still feels really good. Yeah.
I'm playing it and I'm like, somebody here played God Hand. Somebody here played Panzer Dragoons Vi. Somebody here played this. And it's like, I'm just like, Sega Saturn games are springing to mind in like the design of specific mechanics. And I'm like, somebody played Guardian Heroes, somebody played Seven Punishment, and it's like it's in there, right? It's in there. And then I'm playing Stellar Blade, and it's like somebody played Genshin Impact,
right?
Somebody played Breath of the Wild, I guess. Somebody played Devil May Cry 5 on easy, right? Like I'm not sure what I'm getting out of it. It's just it feels so heartless.
Yeah.
Not in the Kingdom Hearts way, because that's my short review of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Is somebody here played Kingdom Hearts? I love Kingdom Hearts.
You do?
Yeah, no joke. I love Kingdom Hearts. I'm
trying to love it. It is. I'm trying to love it.
It is the David Lynch of video games.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to love it. I've been going back through really slowly on streams, and because I had bad memories of the first one.
I had. It's a minefield of bad memories. The whole series, lots of bad stuff.
Yeah, and I remember picking up 3 and feeling like a part of me was missing to enjoy it. So I've been going back, and it is not without its charms. Like I do.
Did you play 2?
I am. Well, I'm not through 1 yet. Again, but I did. I did begin to way back in the day, and I only stuck with it.
So if you're playing on
like
PC,
3 hours,
playing on PC,
yes, yeah.
Like this, my 48-inch OLED, 4K 120, flawless nice. 4K 120. It's very nice. I really like how available those games are. Birth by Sleep is my favorite one.
Okay.
Like I think that's the best one from like a specific combat design. I think as a game design minded person, there's so much stuff going on in between Kingdom Hearts 2 and Birth by Sleep that is like super, super exciting. And there's a lot of really, really excellent, incredible RPG combat, like action RPG combat stuff going on. You got to play it with an Xbox Elite. We got to play it with the controller with paddles. You got to have paddles on your controller. I got them. You want to have your I don't know, like I've got paddles mapped. You want to be able to toggle the. I don't know how far are you in one right now?
I just got past the. I skipped the first Hercules shit on accident and went and did the jungle shit, and now I'm going back to the Hercules shit. So I'm early.
The jungle is rough.
Oh, it's probably it's
bad.
I memory hold it because I did beat that game when I was 16 or whatever. I beat that game, but
it is insanely bad.
The level design and layout and just structure of that entire section like made me want to pull my hair out.
I honestly, I'm gonna say this, and I don't know who needs to hear it, but there's none of the Disney levels are good in Kingdom Hearts 1. In fact, some of them are master classes in the opposite of how to design a compelling 3D AAA video game space. Like the Alice in Wonderland one, it's just a bunch of boxes. The Aladdin one, a bunch of boxes with like there's an upstairs. The Pinocchio whale is trash. And the
Little Mermaid wasn't good either. I remember that.
I was saving that for last.
Okay.
the Tarzan one is like it's a masterpiece of it is a master class, an inverse master class example of how to create something with no sense of place, no flow. None. It has no flow. Like it is incredible. It's like my toilet. Takes 82 seconds to flush that Tarzan level. Like it has no flow. You not feel like you're in a place like ever.
You could not draw it like Metroid Prime style.
Yeah.
You could not draw that. That was not something that had any sort of cohesive structure in terms of like what a level actually looks like.
Crazy bad. And then the Little Mermaid level is if I were writing some kind of early 2000s BuzzFeed listicle of worst video game levels, it might be number one. I think that might be the worst video game level of all time. Like
it's hard to get through this game straight up.
Yeah,
like it's like I keep getting told by my community that it'll get better once I get to 2, try some other stuff. I'm like, I'm sure that's true. But
2 has this like 4-hour intro before you become Sora again. And I actually really like that. I think it's staged really nice. And then once you become Sora, I think it's pretty cool. Once you get your boys back, Donald and Goofy. Once you get Donald and Goofy back, it's good. But it's Kingdom Hearts 1 starts to get good in the very last level. Yeah. When they finally have the Kingdom Hearts stuff comes in. And you've got Maleficent. That's how I pronounce Maleficent. That's the correct pronunciation. That's not true. But once Maleficent comes in and you got to fight the dragon and that whole level is just cool. And it's like clearly they were interested in having Disney characters and being an RPG and having some Final Fantasy characters, but they didn't really know what they were doing. And then in 2, it's like we've got a really cool combat system. Kingdom Hearts is all about toggling your lock on.
Yeah.
It's all about turning the lock off and free aiming every once in a while. It's all about the soft lock. It's all about seeing the reticle. If you play it like an action game, you won't have fun. But if you play it like an RPG that is trying something wild, you might have fun. And in 2, it makes way more sense. But it's like you're just keeping your eye on. There's the soft reticle and the hard reticle all the time, right? So when you toggle the lock on off, you'll just see a reticle locking onto a guy.
Yeah.
And it's like if you attack, that's who you hit. And then you just get a feel for that. And you have to just quickly think. And that's why, again, I like the paddles because I get my analog sticks and all of that. Sure. I can never have to take my fingers off the analog sticks. And I can just, you can toggle it off. and it's like, am I more concerned with my enemy or my environment right now? And then you get into the point where you're fighting the goddamn optional playlist of super crazy bosses, right? And you're just kind of working your way through all of that stuff, the VR missions of Kingdom Hearts. And you get to a point where you're just like, I love this system. And it would have, I feel like the one of the main criticisms I have of Kingdom Hearts now in the year 2025, since you asked, is is it needs better sound effects. You hit a guy with your Keyblade and it makes this little boing sound, right? I want like a loud bone cracking sound, you know, like a sound, like I just hit a guy with a scepter in Diablo 2, you know, like a crack, you know.
Do you think they may have had those, but then in a past with Disney, they were like, we can't have bone cracking.
There's some sound directional stuff. There's some of the sound direction in Kingdom Hearts is off. I mean, my brain is burnt by that Little Mermaid level having they don't get, that's all the notes they were allowed to have, and it's looping and looping and looping and looping. And you mentioned Kingdom Hearts, and someone, you know, like a normal adult, my cardiologist played Kingdom Hearts. I talked about Kingdom Hearts with my cardiologist. Viewers of my stream will know about this. And normal adults will be like, the music, dude, Yoko Shimomura, man. And I'm like, that may be so. It may be so that Yoko Shimomura is in there. But she was basically making karaoke middies out of the table scraps that were kind of bequeathed to her by Disney representatives half the time. It's not like what Mitsuhiko Izumi did with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song that he was given full license to for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. He pops out
great work
in the Technodrome Let's Kick Shell track. He was given access to all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles music that he could possibly want. And he goes, nah, man, I'm good, bro. Right? And then in the middle of Technodrome Let's Kick Shell, in the middle of just the sickest, most freakishly, disgustingly beautiful track in beat-em-up video game history, Mitsuhiko Izumi, lord of the Konami Sounds team, he of Beatmania, he just drops the heroes in a half shell, turtle power, right in the middle, right? But it's played with this shredding, like reverb drenched, disgustingly hideous guitar synth, and it comes like in the middle of the track with a beat drop, and it's just perfect.
Incredible.
That's all he uses, and it's like, so when I hear someone say Yoko Shimomura, man, Kingdom Hearts, all I can think of is that goddamn Little Mermaid level where it's not as bad as I'm saying, but it was.
No, it's pretty bad.
There was a couple notes of Under the Sea that's just being. It's just being looped, and it is maddening. It is some goddamn Lovecraftian cosmic horror, brain blasting, skull shattering. It's terrible.
It's pretty bad.
Nobody likes swimming levels pretty much ever, right?
No.
There's some good ones, but we don't need to talk about them, right? But that is a bad swimming level.
It's a bad one. That's a bad one. I'm struggling coming up with. Well, I mean, there's some Donkey Kong Country ones I think are okay, but that's
Donkey Kong Country. It almost one might even say that that's kind of a better game.
It's
when you're underwater in Donkey Kong Country, because you know what, Donkey Kong,
right?
It's a little, they go for the realism in the graphics, but he doesn't have to breathe.
Yeah,
why doesn't he have to breathe? Oh. I like that he doesn't have to breathe. I like that Mario doesn't have to breathe in the old Marios. Once they made Mario have to breathe.
Well, it's fucked up too, because when he drowns in Mario 64, that's really, really.
It's disturbing.
It's really disturbing.
Like he really, really sounds like they
water's filling my lungs.
Like they're waterboarding him, like Shigeru Miyamoto's asking him for like the nuke codes or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's not great.
It's real bad. I love
scary.
it though. As an artifact, I think Charles Martinet as a voice actor. I have a file that's just called Mario.wave. It's the internal name for it is Mario Takes Damage from Super Mario 64, where he goes, oh! Right? And it's this inimitable sound, and it is my favorite piece of voice acting.
That's really good.
In any video game ever. It's like this. Brevity, the soul of wit, right there. There is so much really wit in that. I mean, that guy, you ever met that guy? Guy's weird.
I haven't.
Guy's weird. No. Guy's weird as heck.
I believe
no
it.
Offense.
I believe.
No offense to him. Charlie, if you're listening, use a weird.
No offense, Charlie.
Use a weird one, Charlie.
Yeah.
Use a weird one. Did you ever see the Conan O'Brien interviewing Charles Martinet video?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
Conan.
That was really my first exposure to this guy's pretty weird, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I think someone should tell him you're not supposed to eat the cocaine.
Just rub it on the gum. Don't eat it. Don't eat the whole thing.
Not with a spoon, Chuck. No. Put the spoon away.
Did you obviously I know how you feel about Final Fantasy VII Remake. What about Rebirth? Did you enjoy that?
Didn't play it.
No way.
I am waiting.
You're waiting.
I was waiting for free time. Then the PlayStation 5 Pro was announced, and I was waiting for the PlayStation 5 Pro. And when the PlayStation 5 Pro came out, I'm the one guy who bought one.
Yep.
I was able to give my original PlayStation 5 to someone who needed it. I was waiting for the PlayStation 5 Pro. When the PlayStation 5 Pro came out, I booted up Rebirth, and I went, oh, yeah, that looks good. And then I was waiting for free time again, and then they announced the PC version. A few weeks after
I know.
the PlayStation 5 Pro came out, I was waiting for the PC version, and now I'm just waiting for free time again. Okay. And I would have played it today, but I had to do this podcast. That's a joke. That's a joke. I was not going to play it today. Trust me.
Yeah.
I need a whole.
You need a lot of time.
I need a whole week set aside to do it. A whole week. I got to capture the whole thing, obviously, because I capture everything I play. A good habit if you're looking into.
How would you? Videos. Your brain probably works differently from a lot of people's just generally, but
it's destroyed.
Sure.
With regard to video games, anyway.
What advice would you give to someone who maybe lacks the discipline to do those things for themselves?
What you mean, the discipline to do work while doing your hobby?
Yeah. How do you separate those things? Do you not care? Are you just broken?
They say when you turn your hobby into your job, you'll never have a hobby ever again, right?
Yeah,
which is
kind of true.
For me, playing video games for leisure purposes is kind of broken at this point.
Yeah.
It's been broken for about 20 years though. Since I worked on video games, I worked in marketing and advertising and design and project management, and eventually as a producer director, learned a little bit of programming, learned learned all of. I basically know how to pretend to do any video game industry job. Right. And this all happened purely by accident. By somebody needed a guy to do this, somebody needed a guy to do this. So I have all of this in my head where it's, first of all, I think if you want to make video games, you should make one. Right. You should make one by yourself. And don't make it it doesn't have to be a big one. You don't have to make Undertale. Right.
Nope.
You don't have to make Undertale, but just make a game that has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then maybe people will find you, right? And I just think that making a full product is the best way to learn how to make stuff. Sure. I think most people in YouTube comment sections should try making something.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like if you've ever thought you could make a YouTube video, but you've never done it, try to write. Okay, here's 150 words is a minute. Okay, it's about a minute. Yep. If you're reading from a script at a cadence like this, 150 words is almost exactly 1 minute. about 98% of the time. Okay, so you write yourself 450 words. That's 3 minutes, right? And now try to make a video, right? That's what I would say. And then just learn every time anybody who has learned any programming at all knows that it's all about reading forums.
Sure.
It's all about Googling stuff. You just kind of Google your way into knowing all of this stuff. That's the dream of the internet, the utopian dream of the internet that is being shattered by betting apps.
It is
sports betting apps and grifters and whatnot. But it's like you just Google your way into knowing everything about programming. You can get there, right? It's not hard. You can also do that for video production. You can Google your way into knowing everything. There's unfortunately a lot of misinformation, disinformation, flat out wrong stuff out there, but you can get there. But for me,
you can figure out what's wrong. You can figure out what's wrong.
Yeah, and sometimes you won't know what's wrong until you try it, and then you're like, "Wow, that person was totally wrong," right? And that does happen quite a bit. I've recently, my YouTube recommendations is all like camera stuff.
Really?
And I estimate that half of YouTube is guys talking about how to make YouTube videos. But I basically capture everything I play.
Okay.
And I capture, like, I want to say most of what I play, I capture with this microphone in my face.
Okay.
And I have a separate audio track that's me just reacting and talking.
What's your storage situation? How do you deal with
I was about to knock on it, but then my dog would freak out. But I've got a big old NAS, a network attached storage on my desk, a QNAP TVS 16H1688 or whatever X or whatever it's called, which is 16 drive NAS with 12 20 terabyte drives and 4 8 terabyte solid state drives in the solid state slots. And
do you do solid state for basically just near term stuff, then you move it?
So I have the solid states are like they're just kind of there, and I use that for like personal stuff.
Sure.
But the 12 20 terabyte drives are all connected to my 10 gigabit internet that connects directly to my computer. So I have 10 gigabit connection to all of that, and I can capture directly to it, which is nice. And it's pretty fantastic to be able to record all the games that I play and just have them on this drive. And I'm actually starting to run out of space. I'm not totally running out of space yet. I've got like 32 terabytes in the computer because the stuff I do, it's real interesting. Like I talked about having this NAS on a stream, and someone was like on Twitter or whatever, like he talked about how he's got like 240 terabytes, like, or someone tweeted at me, they're like, you have like 240 terabytes or whatever, like that's kind of crazy. Isn't that overkill for a retro gaming YouTuber? And I'm like, and then someone says in the chat, or someone replied, and I didn't reply, right? But somebody, because I haven't posted on Twitter in like over 3 years now, right? So it's like I gave up before Elon Musk showed up. I left.
Good for you.
I don't post on social media. I'm going to stop lurking as well. I mean, I basically look like once a week at this point. But someone replied, and God bless this person. Someone replied to, "Isn't that overkill for a retro gaming YouTuber?" I'm like, first of all, is that what I am? Don't label me. But someone replied, and God bless this person. Somebody replied, the video files for capturing game footage easily amount to at least the storage space required for the game, right? Like the video footage captured. The video footage alone for his videos is easily as much as the typical AAA video game. And I'm like, the video games are like, what? They're like 100 gigabytes now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Video I'm working on right now is 82 terabytes, man. Like what do you like, I mean, I appreciate it, but again, this is why I say try making a thing, right?
Right.
Is try being familiar with all the aspects of stuff being made. It's like, this person was defending me, and I'm nitpicking someone who was defending me, but it's like,
no, I capped the entirety of my Breath of the Wild and my Tears of the Kingdom playthroughs, and it's like that was
it's terabytes.
That's a lot.
Even at Nintendo's 30 FPS, 30
FPS. No, for real. I mean,
all of my Breath of the Wild is captured at 60 FPS because I have myself on camera because it was all done live, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to have myself on camera at 30 FPS, right?
No, of course not.
So my file sizes are double what they probably should be.
Because
I love
That's
60.
funny.
What are you thinking about?
60's good.
Are we going to be playing? I didn't beat Tears of the Kingdom, and you know why? Why? Because I received a text message that told me you're going to hear a Switch 2 rumor real soon.
Oh yeah.
And
I believe that.
And it's true. Is what I got told back in like September of last year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, you're going to hear it. And it's true. And then the rumor did arrive, and it was true. So my buddy who's the text message, it wasn't like a random text message from a robot or whatever. It was a person I know who is right about a lot of stuff. Right. So I'm not going to reveal my source here.
No, don't do that.
I'm not a journalist, and I never have been, and I've never called myself a journalist. But I don't rat on my sources. But my buddy was like, "You're going to hear a rumor about the Switch 2, and dude, this one's true." And then my source was correct. And I'm not going to be top K until the Switch 2, it will be brought to me and placed at my feet.
No, I think that's fair. I mean, it's one of those things where I think those games are going to be really, really nice on Switch 2.
Yeah.
Obviously, all the sickos that have been running it on emulation, which I watched a ton of.
I've tried that myself. I've tried it, and I'm just like,
it
doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel right
because it's a slippery slope. Because you start running it on an emulation, and you're like, oh, what mods am I going to put on here now?
It's odd. I'm a big emulation booster, but for some reason that when
I'm a big
some of those some of those felt odd.
Do you own a Mister?
I don't.
You should get one.
I've been thinking about it.
Let's get you a Mister. We'll
all right. Give me a Mister. Let's do it.
I'll get you in touch with my guy.
Yeah, get me in touch with the guy.
I'll get you in touch with your guy. But I've sold so many Misters. There is a Mister on set at a popular television show because of me.
That's fun.
We won't reveal which one.
We don't. I won't reveal
because we don't want the emulation police, the copyright cops to show up.
No, we don't.
To show up and bust down the door and shut the production down forever because some NES games you can't legally buy anywhere are being played by cast members on a television show. We don't want people to know that. But it's I'm a big emulation guy, but I'm also a bit of a walled garden fan. I'm also I'm a bit of a fan of the game being exactly how it's available. It's in stores. If I go to Target, there's Tears of the Kingdom. Like, I feel like I should be playing it on that device. Does that make me a narc? I don't know.
No, I think I'm very agnostic about what other people choose to do, but I'm very much the same way. Like, if it is available to me, I typically play it in that form. Like I'm good with that. I think I get squeamish if like the Tony Hawk 3 and 4 remaster is a good remake or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Is a decent example of like they've changed big parts of it. They've taken out the career mode. They've added some new music, which is like interesting, but it's also not the game that I remember. So there's this weird thing of like, and it's also like, the pixel remasters for Final Fantasy. Everyone's like waiting for that and all that, and I'm just kind of like,
You know what?
This shit is so available right now. It's so available without having to give them more money for a thing that is arguably not as interesting to me. So I don't know.
There's something neat about the Pixel remasters, but I can't quite put my finger on what it is because I just love those originals so much. Right?
I love the originals a lot too. It's
I like the music in those Pixel remasters. Good music.
They're really cool.
Good
really
music.
Cool music.
They did a heck of a job. I got that music. I've listened to that music apart from the games. I can confess that live here on this recording. I can confess that I've listened to Final Fantasy music outside of the games before. I've done it. I've never driven.
People are gonna think that's really weird, but okay, Tim.
I've never driven a car with Dancing Mad playing. But I have driven a car with One Winged Angel on.
Hell yeah!
You ever been like standing around or like just like sitting in a restaurant, sipping a cappuccino or whatever, sipping a little espresso at a restaurant, and somebody drives by in like a Maserati with One Winged Angel blasting? That's happened to me. It was literally a Maserati.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, just drive by. I was sitting drinking a little cup of coffee on the street outside the Blue Bottle Coffee by Columbia University. I was just sipping a little coffee, and then Maserati drove by blasting One Winged Angel. How
I've listened to the Man with the Machine Gun a lot on highways.
Have you listened to Crazy Motorcycle Chase on a highway?
I have. Yeah. No, it's good.
It's good. That track name's a little too on the nose for me.
It's too on the nose. I know. I agree.
It's like you could have.
You could tell when they were getting to the end of the cycle. It's like
hire a consultant to name your tracks.
We need to put these in the can and get them in the game. What is it called? Crazy Motorcycle Chase. I don't know. It's fine.
You want to know something I've never spoken about in public? I don't believe is
what?
Well, I've mentioned this before, but never. I haven't really given myself enough credit. Is if you look at the No More Heroes original soundtrack, I named all the tracks.
Really?
Yeah, I named every single track, and I had 1 hour to do it.
Well, so how did you do that?
Takada came up to my desk and he's like, "Oh my god."
Okay.
The record label guy just thinks my track titles are bad. And I'm like, well, let me take a look at them. And it's like Boss Battle. Right? And I'm like, okay. And then he's like, can you just make it weird?
Spruce it up.
And I'm like, make it weird like how? And then he's like, I don't know, just imagine like if Goichi Suda spoke fluent English. Mm-hmm. What would he name the tracks? And I was like, man, I'm just going to be me and name the tracks. And I named them all. So I named them all. I named all the tracks, and nobody has ever asked me about it or asked, is that you? I'm in the liner notes. I'm in the liner note as Godfather, which is kind of cool. I'm the Godfather of the No More Heroes soundtrack.
No More Heroes soundtrack.
Natsuki Oya is my credit. So I'm in there.
Wow.
It's my only credit. My haters love to point out that I'm not credited on any of the Grasshopper games I worked on because I left.
Crediting is so weird, though. It's so wild.
They just, Goichi Suda didn't like rip my name out of the book. Like, he didn't like shred the dictionary page like dramatically. It's just, they get to the end, they're making the credits, they put names in, and it's just the practice over there. They don't stop and go, but what about the ones we lost along the way? It's like, no, this ain't no Mariah Carey song or.
But I feel like that's pervasive here too. I don't think it's just Japan. I feel like a lot of people do that.
Yeah, they get dropped. It happens very frequently. Crediting is weird.
It's frustrating.
And then weird. And then, sometimes you're watching the credits of a game and it's just like, all right, I get it. I got stuff to do, man. I'm all for people getting credit.
I know.
I'm about to play this new Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah.
And I'm just dreading the credits because I'm a credits respecter.
They're going to be really big because it's a big game and it's been in development for a very long time.
Been in development for a long time. They revamped everything. They revamped their visuals. They revamped god darn everything. They revamped all their game design stuff, all the mechanics, the combat stuff looks 100% new. We're getting all hands are going to be on deck, and it's going to be at least a 45-minute long credit. And I have to. I will
say. So to me, Avowed is another game that did this that does not feel like it was rebooted. So far, a few hours into Shadows, I don't feel the massive reboot within where it is right now.
That's how it should be, though, right?
Yeah, 100%.
That's how it should be.
That's why it's so impressive.
If it feels too different, it's like the actual this is what suffices for art in the modern AAA single player video game industry is can they reboot without tripping off any sort of this is too different, this is too new. It's and Assassin's Creed Shadows has like a wicked it's got like a problem off the bat because people wanted a Japan Assassin's Creed for a long time
ago. A long time, yeah.
People disliked the reboot. Some people did. Not everybody loved it, but not everybody liked the idea of Assassin's Creed becoming the phrase that I think in my head is that pops into mind is easy bake Witcher 3, right?
Yep.
Like Assassin's Creed Origins
that's so right.
It's easy bake Witcher 3, right? It's like can we make a Witcher 3 like game in a year, right?
Yep.
Well, no, okay, Odyssey was the one they made in like a year, right? And I mean, they didn't make it in a year. They were cooking it for a while. You know, they're very smart with project management over there. That's the genius, stuff, right? Mm-hmm. The actual intelligence going on there, the wisdom, the genius. It's all in project management, and they made those two Assassin's Creed games kind of semi-concurrently. They figured out we're gonna just a new direction for the franchise, which just so happens to involve a bunch of like off the shelf stuff that we have here that we own. We own Far Cry Mission Fortress Fort Raids, and we own all of this stuff. The Division leveling systems, like the loot systems. We own all this stuff. We're going to go ahead and steal the assassin, the Nemesis system from that Lord of the Rings game, right? Like they incorporate all this stuff. They make a couple easy bake Witcher 3s. And I like both of them, Origins and Odyssey. And then they took a little longer for Valhalla, but Valhalla is pretty much the same thing. And you get 3 flavors. If you are a Assassin's Creed unacquainted individual, you can choose, what do you like? Do you like Egypt, Greece, or Viking, right? And it's like, it is like a pure 9-year-old's Neapolitan. Right.
Yep.
And it's like if only we had now they done added an extra flavor to the Neapolitan, which is ninjas and samurai. Right. Ninja and samurai.
And samurai.
Right.
Yeah.
You get both. You get both. You get both. And it's kind of anybody complaining about getting both. It's a little weird. I remember when I used to work at a website that I don't know if they're still around. It was, I think, God, I don't even remember the name. I think it was something taco.com, Kotaku, I think it was called.
Kotaku, that's right.
This website. I don't know if they're still around. I think they're I think they're a sports betting hub now, I think.
Sports betting. Bobby Kotick is suing him, so we're still
Bobby's in the news.
Bobby's in the news. Moneyball 2 coming out.
Who's in the news? Bobby's in the news. But I used to work there, and I remember when Sekiro was coming out. The Game Awards Game of the Year winner, Sekiro. Mm-hmm. A fine game, I would say. And if anybody disagrees with me, they can flush their head down the toilet.
Put up your dukes.
You're going to have to flush your own head down the toilet. I'm busy, right? But Sekiro's coming out. I made like a little video that's like, I'm excited for Sekiro, is like what I said. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so many comments were like, Sekiro seems good. I'm just going to wait for Ghost of Tsushima. And I'm like, what? What? Those aren't the same thing at all, right? They're so different. And then Ghost of Tsushima comes out, and I saw a comment on a video. I was watching a video about Ghost of Tsushima because, I had less impulse control back in 2020, right? There was a presidential election coming up. I was out campaigning. That's not true. I was running for president in 2020. Nobody voted for me.
Nobody voted. It's crazy
because they suppressed the message because Twitter was all about suppressing free speech back then.
They totally did,
which is part of the reason why I left. But I saw a comment on this Ghost of Tsushima thing that was like, first Sekiro and now this. Just too many Japan games now, man. And I was like, what? There's 2 of them. And you didn't even mention Neo, right? You could have mentioned Neo.
Yeah.
And then Assassin's Creed Shadows gets announced. Okay. Yeah. And this is part 3 of my story. This is act 3, the climax. Assassin's Creed Shadows gets announced. And I love scrubbing through comments because somebody's got to do it. And, I internalize it and it informs my wisdom. Right.
Yeah.
Which is, wade not trepidatiously into the comments, my friend. Right. Trod not heavily into the comments. Step lightly and trepidatiously. But if you must do it, it will enrich you with wisdom.
Yeah.
Right. If you can stomach it. But I scrub into the comments. I say scrub because I'm a video editor these days. I scrub through video. I'm scrubbing through the comments. And someone says, we already have Sekiro and Ghost of Tsushima. Ubisoft, you had your chance. And I'm like, God, it so owns to have a encyclopedic knowledge of the sorts of things people said about all 3 of these games. And then it's like, I'm imagining this one perfect guy, as we all are. Life is an exercise in inventing the one perfect guy these days. I'm imagining this one perfect guy who skipped Sekiro because he was waiting for Ghost of Tsushima. And never played Ghost of Tsushima because he was tired of Sony open world games, was comments I saw on Ghost of Tsushima, first Horizon Zero Dawn and now this. And then he skipped Assassin's Creed Shadows because they had their chance. And it's like this is the one perfect guy who does not play video games.
Sure, yeah.
But talks about them as though he does.
He just keeps kicking the can down the road. It's like, I'll get to a video game at some point, but the internet not any of these.
We are god darn the internet we are kicking the can down the aisles of an Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark end credits Area 51 sized Library of Congress where somebody done snuck in, replaced all the books with Cliff's Notes, and nobody's reading any of them. And that's how I feel about people about a lot of stuff that I see when I surveil the internet these days.
Yeah,
when I surveil. Yeah, and we haven't even gotten into the we don't need to talk about the people who are upset about Assassin's Creed Shadows is to bully them. Idiots. It's literally bullying them just to talk about them. Isn't that interesting?
It is just to talk about them.
People exist who just talking about them at all in objective terms is bullying. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing. I don't get it. But I mean, I'm.
You're enjoying the game though.
I am.
Is it the best one of these? I've heard from people I know who are working on the game Assassin's Creed Shadows that it's the best one of the open world Assassin's Creed Easy Bake Witcher 3s.
Easy Bake Witcher 3 is probably the best, like, concise way to put kind of this new wave of Assassin's Creeds. I thought Odyssey was interesting. I liked Origins a lot because I'm a big, like, ancient Egypt person.
Yeah.
But in terms of, like, the way this game feels and the way it looks and the characters that they introduce you to, I think it's good. It's compelling and beautiful, and there's a lot going on. It's really fucking overstuffed, but for those people that really want a really overstuffed open world one of these, like, it's pretty fucking good. I like that they start you with Yasuke, kind of just like wrecking shop, which I think is a good way to start the game. Just go like, hey, like if you've played Assassin's Creed, like, well, you haven't played it like a fucking rhinoceros yet, and it's pretty fun. And like that's really fun. I hear it takes a while to get back up to Yasuke, so they kind of give you Yasuke, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna give you like a break for 5 to 10 hours, which like maybe not be the best strategy.
So it's like you're flipping between the characters as dictated by the narrative, right?
Yeah, the narrative is basically like you start with Yasuke, you kind of get the table set. You meet some really rotten Portuguese people.
They had those.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and it's cool. I set the immersive. They call it immersive mode, which is
turn off
Japanese track and Portuguese track. Like that's it.
Yeah, I never play Assassin's Creed in English unless it's Assassin's Creed Syndicate or Black Flag.
Right.
You play it in the language it's supposed to be. I was so upset there was no ancient Greek for
I know,
because I know so many people who could have been dialect coaches for Greek actors for that.
Yeah,
I mean, cool. Okay, I know like 2 people who probably could have been.
That's still a lot.
Yeah, these are employable people with PhDs. Yeah, which is there's one situation in which they would have been employable for the PhD outside of a university setting. And there was no acceptable ancient Egypt track for Origins as well. And there was but Mirage delivered. Pretty cool. Delivered on the immersive experience. But they've got Japanese and Portuguese. You know what?
Japanese, Portuguese, yeah.
I don't want to brag. But can I? I'm just going to say a fact, which is I'm going to do the inverse of bullying myself. I wouldn't need subtitles.
You Portuguese, really? For real?
I got that one, yeah.
Really?
I got that one.
Portuguese is hard.
It's hard. I acquired it long ago.
Okay.
And I've got both.
I attempted to.
I'm not going to lie.
When I lived in Argentina as a kid, I attempted to, but I couldn't.
Oh, wow. I got
Brazilian
I got both of them, yeah. Don't tell anybody. If any of my Brazilian fans are listening, they know.
Wow.
They know.
Obrigado.
Yeah. Domo obrigado. Domo obrigado.
They should have called it Domo obrigado mode. I don't know why they didn't do that. That would have been good. But it's an interesting start. You know, you're really playing this kind of bruising style. You immediately like Yasuke, which is cool. And then playing as Naoe is fun, and it's like really different.
Well, she's more of an assassin character.
She is definitely the kind of the prototypical assassin in these games. So you definitely get into that mode, and that's also really satisfying.
So my problem with Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, all 3 of them, is I think the character movement speed is way too fast. And maybe maybe I'm too Red Dead Redemption 2 pilled here. But
no, I get it. There's an almost kind of almost like a goofy fluidity to some of those older games where they've toned that down a little bit in Shadows. I feel like
I'm gonna check it out. I mean, I've played every Assassin's Creed game.
Woo!
I've played them all.
I can't say that. I haven't played them all.
Well, okay, I haven't played any 2D PSP,
sure.
PlayStation Vita, whatever spin-off, whatever the weird little mini ones are. I've played all the main ones. The Ezio trilogy.
The Ezio di Auditore.
When are they ever gonna get back to that? Is what people ask who don't think Black Flag is better. But then the people who think Black Flag is better say the opposite. And then I'm on the team where I like Unity. I like Assassin's Creed Unity, and I think we need to stop. We need to stop lambasting Unity for the audaciousness of having a face glitch when it came out. It doesn't have that anymore.
Doesn't have it.
Doesn't got that no more. You can play it without that.
They took it out.
You play it on a PC with a 4K 120. It looks beautiful. It's one of the nicest looking games.
Hell yeah.
And it has a narrative you can almost follow, which is different for a lot of these other ones. I feel like I just cannot relate to any characters or plots. And I'm hopeful. Like, I thought Valhalla was really, really neat for having the two genders of the protagonist and letting you pick the mode where it's like, it's like the animus doesn't know what their gender was, and it's like, oh, that rules. I thought that was very thoughtfully implemented if you play it
I do too.
that way. And then it's like switching. I'm like, oh, this is so, it's so thoughtfully implemented. And it was like the closest they came to doing something narrative that I thought was great. But they've never done anything great with narrative, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The second closest they ever came to doing something narratively great was capitalizing all the nouns in the subtitles of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, because that's how English was customarily written by British people at that exact point in history.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good too. That
was pretty good.
I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff. But I feel so when I know that there is, I know what they're doing in Assassin's Creed Shadows. I think it's smart. Mm-hmm. You've got a historical figure, Yasuke. First of all, they've never made an actual historical figure a playable character before. They've never done that.
No,
right? None of those guys are real. So that's a bit of a gamble, because there's like when Napoleon shows up in Assassin's Creed Unity, I lit my house on fire, right? I screamed so loud. I pumped my fist like this, and it made a shotgun racking sound, and my whole house lit on fire. That's not true. I didn't get that excited.
Who's to say?
Is it true, or is it yet another fabrication? Yet another fabulation from a grifter. But fabulate me, grifter. So it's Napoleon shows up and you're like, yeah, and he's kind of historically accurately represented in Assassin's Creed Unity, and they kind of tiptoe around the historical accuracy of him, and it's fine. But you've got Yasuke, who's a real guy, and there's a lot of people. A lot of people don't like that he's there at all, and they wanted to be a samurai who was more of a regular style, like sort of samurai you'd think of when you hear about samurais. A lot of those people don't really know about the Portuguese. They don't really know. They don't really know what that was. They need to watch Martin Scorsese's Silence. They gotta watch Silence, starring my main man Andrew Garfield and my other main man Adam Driver. I like those boys. They're my boys. They're my boys. I like
those boys too.
I love to watch movies like that. And then my mom, man, we're not going to get into the story about my mom that I was going to tell. But I love to watch those movies with samurais in them. And I love to watch that movie with Adam Driver and Andrew Garfield in it. I love to watch that movie. Those are my guys. But it's man, it's
an interesting move to put a historical figure.
Yeah, they don't know about the Portuguese.
They don't know about the Portuguese.
And they don't know about just some people don't know that. And I feel like if you play this game, maybe you'll learn about it. And I was excited when I learned that they've got Portuguese people in the game.
Yes.
And they're sick, right?
Yeah.
Are they sick? Mm-hmm. They're like, they're doing crazy stuff. I'm ready.
Yeah, they're wild. Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, it's like it's like obviously Shogun was one of the better, more well watched shows of the past couple years, and I feel like that kind of plays into this of the kind of the Portuguese and all their weird shit.
I watched like 12 minutes of the first episode of Shogun, and I'll probably get around to watching it. I read the book a million billion years ago.
Yeah, same.
And I read it in high school a million billion years ago. But man, it's got the lens problem where the edges are blurred on everything, and it looks like Octopath Traveler. And it just looks like watching a video game cutscene. And I wish they didn't film stuff that way.
Do you like the way Octopath Traveler looks?
No. It's okay.
Oh wow, you and I are on the same page. I do not like the way those HD 2D games look with Square Enix. I don't like
the Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake. You can turn the tilt shift off.
Which I've done.
Yeah,
which is
and
good.
It looks nice because I
yeah.
But the weird trying to make it look like a diorama of what? A diorama of like a toy I buy at a souvenir gift shop that looks like pixel art. Like, why does it look like pixel art? I don't fucking
get it.
Why do you want it to look like it's a model, like a tabletop game, like a Warhammer table filmed with a f1.4 lens? Or like, I don't understand what we're trying to do here. And then it's a shorthand for artistic, is to just have stuff be blurry, and it's happening in so many TV shows now. Where you can only see like the middle of a guy's face, and then stuff is blurred. I met the actor Zach Cherry, who's in the show Severance. He's my guy, it's my dude. And I told him, every time I see you on TV, I say, "There's my dude." And he goes, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "That's my dude." And I met him the first time I met him a couple years back. We were in the green room at the comedy show thing, and I mentioned the show You that he's in on Netflix, right?
Yes.
And I'm having like this Larry David. They're like, "I always see you. I saw you in that show You," and I said, "That's my dude." And I'm like, "I always just call you my dude when you're in stuff." And he goes, "Glad to hear it." And then I said, "Do you ever watch that show You? Because you were only in season 1." And then he's like, "Yeah, I know." And then I'm like, it moved to a different location for season 2. And he's like, "Well, I've watched all of it." And I'm like, I'm having this Larry David moment with him. I just immediately go straight to, you notice that season 2, they start filming with like the really wide open lens.
They did that a lot.
You kind of can't see like the hair on the outside of a guy's head, like, because it's all just blurred. Like he says, like, Octopath Traveler, and I said, "Yeah." and then I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You ever notice that in the show?" I think, well, like, can you email somebody and tell them to cut it out? Tell them that there's a guy in New York who doesn't like it, and then he's like, "I'm not going to make a comment on this in case you ever discuss it on like a podcast or something in the future." And I'm like, "Nice." And then that's
really smart.
Then we talked about the raid for a while. That's me recounting my wonderful conversation I had.
Zach Cherry seems cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Get him on your show. Yeah, get him on your show.
I should. Okay, hey, you know what? Help me with it. If just send him I'll see
what I can do. Yeah,
let's
get him on my show.
Yeah, I was about to say you've got your own stuff. All right, listen, we've got just a few more minutes. Go to vgbs.com/join to ask us Hive questions. I've got a bunch of Hive questions. I'm gonna answer a lot of these on a bonus, folks. So
can we do a couple?
We're gonna do a couple. We're gonna do a few.
I'm an idiot. I haven't left my neighborhood in like 4 months. Like I don't have anywhere to go.
Let's do it. Okay, so this is from Lovic. Thank you so much, Lovic. Wikipedia says Tim Rogers has compared Action Button's design philosophy to Kitchen Nightmares. How do you feel about the reboot?
The reboot, like, wait, is there a new reboot of Kitchen Nightmares?
I don't know how new the reboot is that this person is referring to.
I wouldn't. So first of all, it's about that time for them to try it again. Sure. So I love the UK Kitchen Nightmares, and I think you can learn a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff from the UK Kitchen Nightmares, which is unfortunately like really hard to find on any American streaming services right now. I love that show, and I recommend anyone who is thinking of starting a business or getting into a creative field, I just recommend watching it because it's a quick watch. There's like 2 moments where Gordon Ramsay is impressed by something in the whole thing, and it's like, it's like worth watching the whole show just to organically experience him actually being genuinely impressed at a couple of things and thinking someone's food is good. It's before he sold the personality. It's before he became the guy who is an evil boss, right? So it's like he's annoyed and disappointed a lot in the show,
Yeah.
but there's very little theatricality to it. Now, when it gets ramped up in the American remake, the American Kitchen Nightmares, it completely loses everything. I think everything that is good about the UK version is destroyed with a sledgehammer. And it's like for example, it's just an American reality show where the people on the show have seen the show. Like, I feel like they got like, I don't know how many episodes they got in the tank, in the can, before everyone on the show has seen the show or knows who Gordon Ramsay is. And they're just like, you know, I feel like there's makeup on the people. There's hair and makeup being done on the they're not contestants, but I feel like there's this game show feeling to it. There's hair and makeup that's been done where the UK one is very cinema verite in comparison.
Sure.
It's very Dogma 95, like in comparison to the American one, which is so over polished. It is so over edited. It has the reality TV show editing that I feel insanely allergic to. It has the reality TV show music, stings. It's like everyone knows they're on this, not just a show, but this show. They're yelling, right? They're like having breakdowns. Gordon is nuts. Gordon is out of his mind. He is out of his mind.
He goes fucking nuts in the American version. Yeah.
And it's like
in a way that feels like unearned and uninteresting, like all at the same time.
And the key symptom that sets it off on the wrong path is there's a narrator, and it's not Gordon Ramsay. In the UK version, the narration is Gordon Ramsay, written by Gordon Ramsay.
Right.
And he's reading stuff he wrote about what you're about to see. And he's introducing, and it's like, that's basically it. So while I also think that any valuable messages one might learn about business, Gordon Ramsay, like, I feel like they're all just lost in the theatricality and the presentation of the American one, where all you need to know about the original is simple, local, rustic. You know, you want simple ingredients sourced locally, and you present them in a rustic manner. And then you want 4 or 5 flavors on the plate, and you want a 1-page menu, right? Like, so like, you know, that's what he does to every restaurant he makes over in the UK Kitchen Nightmares. But also simple, local, rustic, 4 to 5 flavors on the plate, and a 1-page menu. That's like the basic tenets of your Gordon Ramsay restaurant. That he would, and I feel like, you know, it's fun to watch. You know, just knowing the 10 commandments or whatever is not the same as living the execution. So, you know, you watch the show, and it's just all lost. So I hate the reboot. I hate it.
Yeah, hate it.
I hate it.
Fuck it.
And if there's a new reboot,
I don't know about it.
If there's a new one, I don't know about it. It is about that time to reboot it. It's about that time. I would say the time has come for them to try it again. Because I know he's got like 42 TV shows. A couple of them might have ended at this point, right? Like, he's just, man, lives on television now. Is there a new version?
Christ, it's hard to tell.
It's just hard to Google anything anymore.
It's hard to Google anything.
It's all ads. It's all logos.
Logos
on the phone.
Really. Not really. It feels like it's the same. I think that's what they mean.
There is no kitchen. Just that. Okay.
I think it's just what they mean. The American version. Additional kitchen related question. Dull Focus. Thank you. You get to make one upgrade to your kitchen. What is it?
For me, I'd like it to be bigger.
Bigger. Okay.
My kitchen counter,
I mean, because you've got a New York apartment. I'm sure it's very small.
My kitchen counter is a little bit smaller than a large Domino's pizza box, and I know this for a pretty good reason. Like, that's how much available counter space I have on my kitchen counter.
Okay.
We use the stove top as a counter. I'm chopping vegetables on the stove. I have the cutting board on the stove. So
I had to do that in LA a lot. So yeah.
But also, if I mean, realistically, I would like a light also, because somebody upstairs, I think if I could do one upgrade, it's a toss up between a new refrigerator that works. Because our refrigerator, I call it the rot box. because it's stuff gets, it's like lower, it's like it's below room temperature in there, but it's just not cold enough. And then also a pipe burst upstairs and it flooded our light and it shorted our outlet, and the electrician wants $1,800 to fix it. And I just don't want to pay $1,800 to fix.
Why would you be on the hook for $1,800 if they flooded your fucking outlet?
Because my girlfriend's dad owns this apartment.
Oh,
and we're basically LARPing homeowners here.
Got it.
Because he owns the apartment and is a millionaire of sorts. Oh. Not a billionaire, just kind of a millionaire. Right. And he's weird. And he lives on a farm with some ducks upstate, literally. Several Pomeranians. He has 3 Pomeranians.
Right. Wow.
But we've got 5 Pomeranians in our little extended family here.
Sure.
But he's like, well, you guys can live there if you pay the building fees, the property taxes, and if there's anything busted or whatever, just get it fixed. And building fees and property taxes together equal, let me tell you, more than I would pay to rent this apartment, more than I would pay to rent an apartment in New York.
Property taxes, no joke. No joke.
But we do pay about 25% of what we would pay if it was up for rent. Were like, because I look at listings in this very building. So I don't know why someone would pay $10,000 to live in this apartment. Like, what is like, that is insane.
That's crazy.
I hate this apartment. I hate this building. I hate it. And I'm paying almost $3,000 to live here. Like, like, why would you pay so much more than that? It's crazy. Yeah. Like, the location is incredible. We're right on Central Park, right? Yep. Like, I mean, that just about says it. We have a 100 walk score, 30-second walk to the subway.
That's great.
But okay.
For
$3,000, I could live somewhere beautiful. But I would like a light in the kitchen because it's pitch dark in our kitchen.
Light in the kitchen seems a totally reasonable thing to want. Yeah. Chris, I would probably say a pot filler for me. Yeah, one of those fucking faucets above the stove. Because boy, one thing I'm not good at is carrying big pots of water from my sink to I'm not good at that. I spill a lot, so that'd probably be my choice. My Hero Zero asks, what would you rather play, a Deadly Premonition or Mizurna Falls?
Mizurna Falls.
Okay. Any explanation? I never played Mizurna Falls, so
Mizurna Falls
played Deadly Premonition, but
Mizurna Falls is chill as heck. I think it kind of hangs together as a video game.
Okay.
And I think Deadly Premonition is like, Deadly Premonition came out and like a couple like friends and acquaintances are just like, oh, have you played this game? It's so stupid. And I'm like, okay. Right. And this game is like it's like the worst game. It has like the worst combat. It's so dumb. It's like Twin Peaks if it were rewritten by a complete moron. Oh my God, it's the stupidest trash. Oh my God, I love it. I beat it. And then now, privately, they're saying this, and then they just start hyping it up.
Yeah.
To all their friends and saying it's the best. Sure. And then, years hence, they talk about it as though it's this thing they've loved forever. They were just like, I don't know. There's kind of like, it's kind of like the weird bully-esque, this weird like bully. I have too many memories of this like weird bully-esque behavior toward that game specifically, where it's like, you can meet it on its own level and enjoy it. But right. And it's cool. It's a big, weird, crazy open world that's done on a shoestring budget. And there's so much to like about it, but I don't know. I just have too many like toxic memories.
I get that.
I have too many toxic memories of it.
I think people have only begun, and I still don't think they're very good at it. They've only just begun to get comfortable with engaging with stuff that is, just a little bit outside of, I think, the very traditional, like, obvious structure of games.
Yeah.
And it's like, they identify something as bad if it has a specific kind of friction in it, and then they don't know how to talk about it in any other way.
I mean, I think my friends unironically liked it, and they were being ironic about ironically liking it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty toxic.
It's pretty annoying.
It's
super.
I mean, it's. I don't want to use the. I know the word toxic means. I'm using the word toxic as like a word, not as like not as the buzzword that it means.
Not they're cancelable.
Not the. It's poisoned. It's just like poisoned thinking to be ironic about being ironic. It's like we got to stop at that point.
Yep.
But
agreed.
I genuinely really like Mizerna Falls, which is one of those games where you Google it and you see screenshots of it and you see GIFs of it posted on Tumblr and you're like, I gotta play this. And then you do 90% of the time, you just are very disappointed by those games, right?
Yeah.
Speed Power Gunbike, I think, is the ultimate video game that everyone sees and is like, I gotta play this. And then they do, and it's just like one of the worst experiences they've ever had. Mizerna Falls was similar to that for me, but I did happen to play it in the early 2000s. Walked into a store and bought it.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, refreshingly surprised. I actually enjoyed this game.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this little game. And I enjoyed Deadly Premonition 2.
Like, sure.
Not Deadly Premonition 2.
No.
Deadly Premonition 2 is bad in a bad way. And Deadly Premonition 1 is good in a reasonable way.
It's a shame. Yeah, I didn't enjoy the second one either. Papa Bear Zach asks, hey, let's talk about Xenosaga some more. We talked about Xenosaga.
Oh, I love Xenosaga.
Pied Piper getting restored and being playable soon in English for the first time will complete a dream of mine, the Xenosaga freak. Is there a piece of lost media you dream of resurfacing someday?
In video games or just in general?
I think we're open. Whatever you think.
Lost media. I don't dwell too much on. I'm not one of these archaeology mavens when it comes to media. I understand this is like a buzzword, not a buzzword, but it's a fascination now among particularly the younger set, the Gen Z. They're big fans of lost media, right? I understand, by the way, that Gen Z is like 30 years old now. I understand that. I'm 40. I'm about to be 46, so I'm not. Don't like anyone listening who thinks I'm misusing the label Gen Z. I'm not. I consider them. I consider someone who's 30 years old younger. That's a younger person. So the younger set is they're really fascinated by lost media, and I had this really weird, when I was a teen, I read a lot of video game magazines, and I remember seeing lots and lots of previews and Die Hard Game Fan, Electronic Gaming Monthly, with gaming journalists back then gaming journalists had real names that they never revealed. They were E Storm. That's just Dave Halverson, right?
Right.
Who's also another guy there at Game Fan. Scary Larry. Lawrence of Arcadia from Game Pro.
Of Arcadia.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like was that just Scary Larry as well? Makes you think, right? Probably.
Yeah.
Right. Back then, I used to read previews in these magazines and I would see games all the time. And the games that bewitched me most were, do you realize this? They were games that were role-playing games. And they were from Japan. And thus unplayable to a fool like me because they were in the Japanese language. And that is what I've always understood as JRPG. A Japanese RPG is, to me, one of those games which I saw and knew I could not play because it was in a language I did not know. And then I had this beautiful experience of just playing. I actually, it was like 5 years ago when I was on my Mister, and I was like, you know what? I can just play any of these now. I can just play them all. And that was a wild time. I was like, I can play all of them now and just like play them.
Yeah.
So I had this in my youth. So maybe this is what has particularly goblinized me against the urge to seek to yearn for lost media, was I had all this stuff that I thought I would never chill with, that I would never be able to hang out with. And not only do I currently live in an era of history where the stuff that I thought was cool when I was a teenager, that nobody else thought was cool, is cool, right? Where, you know, we got like Seiken Densetsu 3 just translated into English for out of nowhere, officially released in an M2 collection a few years back. And it's like no fanfare, like guys my age are just like, wow, that just happened, right? And it's like, it was barely a blip. We've got a community of people who just translate games that would never have ever been translated, just translate them. They translated god darn Linda Cube into English. That is one of the most outrageously, insanely difficult games to play in Japanese, and some people translated it into English. So I've got this experience of I yearned for all these games that I knew I would never play, and then I just happened to learn the language fluently. I can read the newspaper in Japanese. I just got to this point. That's actually a big deal. The American newspapers are on like a 4th grade level. The Japanese newspapers like a college level. It doesn't make sense. But you know, somehow they have, you know, they have trains that work, and you know, their public works is very, I don't know, somehow something that works over there. But anyway, you know, so I have that experience of yearning for all this stuff, and then actually just not only becoming able to play it and getting all that stuff and playing all these games. I really wanted to play the game Moon, and then I eventually did, and I sought out the guy who made it and begged him to let me translate it into English, and they should release it in America. And then 10 years later, Toby Fox told him the same thing, and then he told me, hey, mate, you remember when you asked me to translate this? So it's like I've lived through stuff like that. And I now live in an era where all these fan translations, they're not fan translations, they're translations, right? So because they're not fan translations anymore if the people who made the thing are not translating it. That's just that's the translation, right? So I've just, you know, that's my perspective, and it's like it's just kind of dreams coming true for me, right? Where it's just like now, I suppose a generation that's a little bit more spoiled for choice. I got beat up because I looked like a guy who liked Dragon Warrior, so that you youngsters of today can have Pokemon, right? So that Pokemon would come out a few years later and be cool, right? So I played Dragon Warrior on my Game Boy and my NES. Wait, hold on. It wasn't on the Game Boy Color yet. That was post Pokemon. That was post Pokemon. But I played Dragon Warrior. I played Dragon Warrior on my Game Boy in Japan on the train all the time and had a good time. I liked those games. But
hell yeah,
that's my perspective on lost media. I can't think. That's why I say I can't think of one.
No, that's fair.
I mean, that's why I can't think of one.
I think you're correct. I think a lot of stuff that I would consider to be lost media now is actually not so much lost. It was just, you know, had such limited circulation or something that I would pick something like that. I liked the game Infinite Space for Nintendo DS a lot.
Oh, I like that game.
Sega published. I like that game a lot. It like they made like 10 copies of it. So it's like really fucking hard to find. They haven't like put it out on any place. Of course, I can play it if I really want to
on a Nintendo DS.
On a Nintendo DS. But like that would be something interesting. I think what I really want, which is I think answering really frankly a different question. Sorry, Papa Bear Zach. I really wish I could play, kind of going back to video game magazine discourse. I wish I could play the shitty versions of Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time and all these games that like
everything looks
had
shiny
really bad.
and wet.
Everything looked wet and shiny.
Yeah.
And the UX was fucked up. And like, I just wish I could get a little collection of those demos. They probably weren't even playable, honestly, like for the most part. I just wish I could kind of get a lot of those in some sort of official package of
like a
kind
reference
of,
quality video.
like
just
something.
anything like that.
Yeah, I just want to see more of that. I mean, maybe this is just me putting out in the world. I wish Nintendo was like more open about their incredibly storied and impressive history when it comes to just shaping our entire culture. But in terms of actual like lost media, like Xenosaga Pied Piper is legitimately like maybe one of the only ones I would have identified before this week. So
and now you got it.
And now we got it. So, and honestly, Moon, like 5 years ago, would have probably been my answer. Like, there's stuff that like, yeah, like if we didn't get an official version of it, I probably wasn't ever gonna. I wish I could have learned Japanese. I feel like my brain can't do it anymore. But yeah, it's like, so yeah, we keep getting the things to happen. So it's hard to.
Anybody who wants to learn Japanese, put on Japanese movies, or when I was a teenager, we didn't have any anime at all that wasn't at Blockbuster Video and dubbed most of the time. But it's like now you got anime on streaming services. Put some on, watch it with the subtitles, and rewatch single episodes and just repeat the words out loud. And try to imitate this sounds insane, but try to just imitate the characters, the way they talk.
Yeah.
And eventually you'll learn the accent, you'll learn the rhythm, you'll start identifying words. I mean, while studying it, right? But you just study it formally as well. But
no, 100%. When I was in Argentina, I learned Spanish really quickly, and it was because I was studying it, but also because I was going home every day, and I was watching Sony Entertainment Television, which was the channel down there that would have both dubbed and subtitled versions of every American sitcom, every American drama, all that stuff. So it was like the easiest way to learn. So yeah, that's good advice. Maybe I should start doing that. Okay, we're gonna do one more question, and we're gonna get out of here. One more
question.
MC Benji asks, "Hey, does Tim have a lot of nicknames for his dogs? Are they contextual, or are you willing to share any?"
So I have like nicknames for my dogs that I speak on streams where I'll like call my dogs all sorts of crazy stuff. But in real life, when I'm by myself, and I've been by myself in this apartment for like 5 days straight now because my girlfriend was at GDC. When I'm alone with my dogs and my girlfriend's not around, where, we share the nicknames and we like talking about the dogs constantly. We like watching television and saying which character is which dog of all the five Pomeranians we know, like which one is Punchy. Punchy is he's a wicked little weird one that is one of her parents' dogs. But like when I'm alone, I call my boy Bibbithy Babbis, I call him Little Dog. I said, "Little dog, come here." I said, "Come here, little dog," just like that. And he listens. He responds to Little Dog, which is wild. And then I call Blaster, which is the black dog. I call her Baby. Just say, "Come here, baby." So there you go. That's my extremely boring nicknames. But then we have all the other ones. We do call I call Bibbithy Babbis the Pope sometimes. I say, "He's the Pope." Little Pope, get over here, little Pope and Daddy. Sometimes I call him Bibbin Freestyle. Get over here, freestyle.
That's good.
Yeah, because sometimes he'll start kicking, and I say he's freestyling.
Sure,
right, where he's going
100%.
and he's just kicking his feet and he's just going in a circle. I call my girl dog Baby Truck sometimes because she's really, really square shaped. It's just beautiful. It's a wonderful shape, very structured, very solid. I call her Blastreska, which is not her full name, I don't think. We don't. Who even knows what a dog's name is, right? Who even knows?
Who knows?
But I call him all sorts of stuff. Oh, and Little Herfy.
Little Herfy.
Yeah, Hurfy, like Herfy, because he makes a little noise like Herf. I do often. Me and Mimsy often call him Captain McBaby, or Detective McBaby or Dr. Goodbaby. Sometimes those are old names for him, but they still pop up every now and again.
Yeah.
And then my baby boy.
My baby boy.
That's basically it. But Blaster gets very few nicknames because she's just such a agreeable dog.
That's good. Yeah, that's nice. MC Benji, you've also added. I framed this around Tim, but I'm also curious about John's answer. Sure. So Raisinette, the French bulldog, we call her Raisin, Ray, Baby Bug, Frog Bear, Bat Bug, Gremlin, Bugbear, Chunky Monkey. That's about it. Ravioli, he gets a lot. Little guy, little dude, little man, pizza pocket man, pasta man. Fucking, I mean, it's just like party man, party guy, party dude.
We call Bibbidi Babbis Mr. Chicken sometimes.
Mr. Chicken's great.
He makes
That's awesome.
Chicken sounds.
That's good. Yeah, it's like it's very, very rare I call either dog truly by their given name. It's very rare, actually. So that's my answer, MC Benji. I'm sure I'm missing some too. I'm almost positive I am, but that's kind of my.
I think it's kind of rude to give a dog one name, isn't it?
I think it is. Yeah, I certainly think it's strange to give your dog one name and then to always just kind of call it that, because I don't know. Yeah, my wife, I don't have just if in my house I go, "Hello, Anne," something's wrong.
Yeah,
something's happened. Yeah, that's not right.
It's deranged.
So yeah, it's not good.
Names are weird, man.
Yeah, super weird. So yeah, and if she ever says John, I'm like, "What the fuck are you? What's wrong?" Yeah, it's usually something's wrong. So yeah, I think it's good to have a lot of different names for the. Have
you noticed that like every verified Twitter user who's a real person now has a name that's like a website? Their display name is always like The Objective Gamer, right? And it's like they're verified and they have like 12 followers, and it's like
The Objective,
or it's
Gamer.
I don't know, the Aristocrats punching bag.
Yeah,
that's
Jesus Christ.
Like it's always like they have names that are like brands, like people.
Yeah,
it's very strange. So we're like there's a future, a Gen Alpha future, where a married couple, somebody comes home from their job repairing robots, which is the only job in the world at that point. They come home from their job repairing robots and getting sunburned because of climate change. They come home sunburnt after a long, frustrating day of repairing robots, and they will just say to their wife or husband or partner, they say, "Good evening, girlfriends.com," or whatever. Like there's a .com on it, right? There's a good evening, elitegamer43.com, right? And it's just like, oh, that's the future.
It's tough.
They're gonna be like, we're the conceit here is that the Twitter display name that sounds like a website is going to emerge into the real world.
It will.
People are going to be going by names like that.
They will.
The crazygamer.org. The crazygamer.club. Right?
Yep. The Lutheran Gamer.
The Lutheran Oh my God. Like, can you just imagine like Dr. Disrespect's wife saying, "Good evening, drdisrespect.com."
Good evening, Dr. Disrespect. Please turn that camera off. I'm in the bathroom.
Should I have? Wouldn't it be fun to have a streaming persona that's Reverend Respect?
Yeah,
that was a joke
Reverend Respect
that I had when I was at whatever that website was called. I was at this website and I said, I want to make a streaming character named Reverend Respect, where I wear sunglasses and I dress up like a reverend. And I was told by the editor-in-chief of that website, who has a newsletter now.
Yeah.
Who has a newsletter now. I was told I don't think the legal team would clear that, because unless you were willing to become a real reverend, I don't know if the legal team is going to be good with that. That would be, that'd be strange territory. And I'm like, all right, okay.
That's good.
It would have been good.
That's funny.
I would have committed to it really hard.
No,
I would have been all full of praise the Lords and whatnot. I've been to church.
Oh,
I've been to church.
I have been. I know what it's like.
I've been there. I know what it's like. Except I've been to Catholic church. We don't have reverends at Catholic churches.
No.
And I'm not going to get on there and call myself Father Respect or whatever. It doesn't have the alliteration.
It doesn't work. Gosh, this has been so much fun, Tim. This has been a blast. Thank you so much for doing this.
Hey.
What do you want to plug before we get out of here?
What I want to plug? I mean, just check out discord.gg/action button. That's the Action Button Goblin Bunker. It's also known as the Action Button Discord. It's the Discord where I've got just I started a Discord the day I quit my job, and now there's just 14,000 people in there who most of them don't even know me.
Yeah.
And it's a place. I created a place on the internet that now is a place that has its own identity and community, and it's just the whole internet for me.
It's pretty cool.
It's where where I experience the whole internet. I don't look at the social medias or anything.
I think that's where I think that's where we're headed. I think you're ahead of the curve on that one.
People are always telling me, your Discord is so good. It's so much better than other fan Discords. And I go, it's not a fan Discord, you idiot. It's a I made this place.
It's a whole new place.
I wanted a place to hang out, and I thought if I made it, there would be a couple hundred people who were cool. And it turns out that was just the right idea. It's thousands now, and I just hang out there, and I all the people there are great, and you can meet people who you can talk to people, there's things and events happening just all the time, and it's just a wonderful place, and it's so much better. It feels like the dream of the old AOL chat room is fully realized in just Discord servers in general.
That's perfect.
And if Discord ever gets some sort of Nazi takeover or whatever, I'm going to lose my mind. And I'm going to lose my mind. What else am I going to do? Go outside? Yeah. Going outside is okay. But also check out twitch.tv/action button. That's the television is actually abbreviated TV. On most URLs. So twitch.tv/action button. I pronounce the TV. I read the TV all the way.
Sure.
Twitch.television.
I said that with Justin.television.
Justin.television.
Yeah.
Twitch.television/action button. I stream every Friday. At what time? How dare you ask me that? When I feel like it. And I also stream either Tuesday or Wednesday. Which one, when, I don't know. But I stream quite often on there, and I talk to my chat, basically.
Perfect.
I talk to my chat, and I play Dragon Quest because it's my off hours. It's not my job.
That's a good time.
It's not my job. It's my fun. I do it for fun.
Yeah, it's your little fun time.
When you think about kind of a sick thing to do for fun, it's kind of a weird thing to answer viewer questions.
I don't know. It sounds like fun to me. I don't know.
To answer viewer questions, to answer viewer questions in real time for several hours.
No, it's good. It's like a weird one-sided conversation, but it's not really that one-sided.
No, I think it's hard. It's not easy. It's not like it is not relaxing. But it's kind of it kind of is on the level of of stress of like playing a video game.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when you're actually playing a video game and talking and responding to the chat, it's like playing a video game while playing a video game. So it's like it actually gets pretty sweaty when you've streamed video games before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you know what it's like. But it's the whole just talking to people, I feel like it's easier than being on a podcast. That makes sense. Yeah, it's easier than being on a podcast because you just have the constant flow of instant feedback to the viewer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Makes sense.
I'm not here to dissect what it means to be is on a stream, but that's
no, it's good.
That's what it's like to be on a stream. In case anybody needed to know.
I think we all did. Tim, thank you so much. Please come back whenever you want to.
Oh yeah, I'm around.
Back and that was a blast. As for me, hey, go to vgbs.com/join the hive. You can do that and give me money. It's really great to do that. Grow this thing. I'd like to do it full time. There's no shot that that's happening anytime soon unless we really get that going. So do that, please. And also, I don't know, go to feetlegal.com. I'll say no more. Just go do that.
I've been there.
And then, you've been there. You're going to get one in a month and a half. So
I'm ready. Cool. I got the email.
You got the email. Yeah. We're working hard on that. Tariffs are tariffs.
I love stuff that lets me do more stuff all the time.
Awesome.
My desk is crammed with stuff that lets me do more stuff more quickly.
I love it. So that's been a fun thing to get going. So thanks everyone for hanging out for this one. This is, by the way, go to makeyouthink.club. That's Nikki's newsletter. They are not here to promote it, so I am promoting it for them. And also follow Nikki over on Blue Sky at Nikki Grayson, and then you can follow me at floppyadult.com. Fuck. All right, let's get out of here. Until next time, keep on buzzing. Bye.